all of that, and how the rest of the offseason could go for the Royals with JJ Picollo. But Wednesday good? Company holiday party tonight and everything? Are you guys going? I mean, Drew, are you going to make it out to this thing as well?
I'll be there.
I know you'll be there. I know you're going to show up. Different location this time, so it'll be fun, man.
I will say I was having a slightly different feeling about a previous incident in discussing this with our boss today. So our boss was talking about the company Christmas party, and I don't think we need to discuss where it's going to be at.
Right.
Although, I don't know, might post a photo later anyway, so maybe who cares. But so when in discussing it, she was talking about how the company, typically in these situations, provides an open bar situation.
That's right.
And I said, it's a company thing. I'm sure people take care of themselves, to which she suggested that not everybody does that. Not everybody falls out line. And then I couldn't help but remember when I was real drunk in front of her in Las Vegas. But in my defense, I wasn't supposed to be with her at that time. Mm-hmm. I had gotten drunk, was supposed to be absent from her public view, and then later ran into her, and I'm like, oh, man. Oh, boy.
That's part of the story. I mean, the other part is earlier in the day, we had like a lunch happy hour thing.
I wasn't as drunk then as I was later. I'm not saying I wasn't drunk. I'm saying it got worse. I'm saying it got worse. I'm not saying it's not zero.
Yeah.
She didn't ask you until the concert if I was drunk. Let's admit that.
That's true.
That's
true. No,
can we discuss that?
That is very true. No, tonight'll be fun. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm sure anything that happens, don't worry, it'll be reported back on the show. You guys can count on that. If something happens at the party tonight, we will definitely discuss it tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get drunk at it. I can promise you that. This I swear. Specs out of town.
So you're not getting drunk?
He can't send the mandatory email that is, please do not get drunk at the company
He still
party,
might send it today.
which seemed to have been coming less since Nick Schwartz left this station, so that's of note. I don't think he's sending them for every party anymore, only occasional, only in the ones he's worried about.
He figured we're smart enough to know how to handle ourselves at this point in time.
You'd think so.
Are you suggesting that you think there's somebody at this station that you're questioning whether they can handle themselves tonight? Who would that be?
Well, here's the only thing I would say is Drew's a lightweight. So if Drew,
Whoa,
so if Drew gets into towards the end of the second drink,
I know Mac likes to get after a little bit at a Chiefs game. That's about it. I don't know about Drew.
What makes you say that I'm a lightweight? Hang on a second. I have not been in a setting where I've been off my ass after two drinks.
I've never even seen you have a third drink. Because I've seen you feel pretty good after two.
Because I know how to control I know where if I have that third drink or that fourth drink, it might be a problem. So let me get my two, and I'm going to have my two.
Now, in fairness,
this is going to make me sound like an alcoholic, but let me be very clear. Mac, boy. Is there any risk of you being drunk for a third drink? A third drink?
Because you guys,
that's not the risk line. No, that's lightweight.
Hold on.
Risk line is not two drinks.
That's because you guys drink water. You guys drink beer. You guys drink.
I drink.
You guys drink acquired. You drink acquired taste things. I will have two drinks. I'll have like a cranberry vodka Sprite that's got like a heavy dose of vodka in it. I'll have my two drinks. I'm having more alcohol than you're having technically with my two drinks.
I don't think so. All right, Drew and I
drink responsibly.
That's all I'm saying. I'm defending myself. All right.
All right. Is your wife coming tonight to the party?
She is. She is going to be there.
Is she driving?
No, I'm driving.
See, then he can only have two anyway.
Yeah.
I know how to control myself.
That's good.
Cody's out here acting like Drew needs to have 5 drinks tonight.
I did not. I just said I was just saying if he did, he'd be hammered.
So you're saying, is that all of a sudden turning into the goal of, hey, Bree, you're driving Drew home tonight because we're going to get Drew drunk tonight at that's what it's going to turn into.
It sounds like that's what Cody wants.
That definitely
more
sounds
more
like it.
as time goes on. Yeah, we'll see.
Oh my gosh,
I don't have to. I can't make promises for people or anything. If that happens, we'll definitely discuss it tomorrow.
Shot. No, we're not.
Someone says no. Oh wow, people are just taking
Why not
shots.
over on Twitch said, sounds like you're challenging Drew to a drinking competition.
Yeah, well, I know who's going to win that one. That's the only thing.
Hold on. If we're drinking beer, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So there's no way Seltzer Boy is defaming beer, is what they said.
Damn. We're off to a hell of a start. Drew's getting shots immediately.
Hold on, Cody. You know,
Seltzer Boy's funny, though.
Cody, you know I'm a lot like you in terms of competitiveness.
Yeah. I don't drinking contest.
Do you want to do this?
That's a wild thing to do at a company Christmas party.
Do you want to do this?
How am I getting home? My wife can't come tonight, so like all of a sudden I'm
take
like,
an Uber. Just take an Uber to the party instead.
Just take an Uber?
Mm-hmm. Uber there and back. Be done with it. Then you can do whatever you want.
That was a
It has to be something that's
proposition.
not like what we usually drink. Like I'm not having a cider or a Mike's. You cannot have an acquired taste. We need to have something else.
Like just tequila? It's just a tequila drinking contest?
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm told they will not do shots at the party tonight, so we're gonna have to.
Yeah, shots are not
Challenge
allowed.
accepted
That was
if we're
already
taking shots.
mentioned.
Anyways,
all right,
we'll get offering to pay for my Uber just to make sure that I go there without driving.
We will get back to this now. I'm sure, considering the way this already started, we will I'm sure address the party not only tomorrow but maybe later on in the show as well. But let's talk some Chiefs football to get us started, though, on a Wednesday. And throughout this season, we've all discussed, like, okay, what can improve? What can improve? Is it offense? Is it defense? Where is our faith at in the team? And because of the last 3 weeks of how the offense has looked, 19 points, 21 points, but then the defense only giving up fewer than 20, in fact, 7, as we know on Sunday. Are we back to where we're like, you know what?
This is a defensive team.
I mean, isn't it? Aren't we right back to that? That if they're going to win, it's going to still be about the defense, not the offense? Because I'll be honest, a month ago I thought, all right, maybe the offense actually has a better chance of improving. But the defense has improved. Like, I've already seen them improve in 3 weeks. The offense has not.
Notably, again, I do not think we probably somehow undersold, even though we made a pretty big deal about it as a show. We have undersold the contribution from Charles Omenihu. I mean, night and day difference, defensive line-wise, between when they had him and when they didn't, and what they have now in him.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. About a month ago, I think it was you and I the same thing. Right after maybe they'd probably given up that 30 to the Bills. I was like, look, if they're going to win, they're going to be better on offense than better on defense. They don't need to be significantly better. It'll be driven a little bit by both, but this will be a team in need of offense. And then, over the last 4 weeks, Patrick Mahomes has probably had the worst single month of his career statistically, or close, not really, because he was worse earlier in the year, but he's inaccurate. The offense has been bad. They've only scored, for as much as you just talked about the defense, in their last 3 games, they've only scored 19, 19, and 21 against the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Browns. And the Chargers were the top scoring defense in the league at that time, but the other 2 weren't. Like, it does start to feel that way. But I'll be honest, now that I've seen the defense play, and I've watched the offense continue to struggle in the exact same ways, and I don't think there's some savior coming at left tackle. Yeah, I'm back to defense wins championships. Go defense. I'm not saying in a crunch moment, this is the best part. In a crunch moment with 3 minutes to go and 70 yards to drive with Mahomes' then it's all hands on deck. Mahomes will get the job done. He has consistently gotten his team down the field to score in those spots, and I think he will. But as far as what will be the better unit if they win the Super Bowl, that's defense again. I'm back. I shifted briefly, but I'm back.
I'm with you, but what you said is crucial there too, though. We know last year when this was a team that was carried by the defense in large part, even in the postseason, the offense played better. It was still about the defense. It requires, even if we think this defense is heading in the right direction, I think they absolutely are. They're forcing some turnovers against Cleveland. Maybe that gets them going with that because they were bottom 3 in takeaways. They get 6 of them in the game, including the special teams turnover. Maybe that gets them. Maybe McDuffie gets his first career pick, so now we're going to start seeing him get more. I don't know. That's all stuff that could happen. But ultimately, it'll still be, can the offense join the party, right? Can the offense in the playoffs, a divisional round game, an AFC title game, can the offense get close enough? I mean, it's not like they beat the Ravens in the postseason, the AFC title game, by scoring 30 points. No,
but there was a dramatic difference between offense and defense last year. It's like the defense was number 1 and the offense was like 12.
Right. And this year, points per game, defense is up to what? 6th or 6th? Fourth, up to 4th.
Tied for 4th.
After the 7 points they gave up. But offense is where?
12th.
So it's not terribly far off, actually, from where it was a year ago.
It was like 7th and 7th a month ago. I mean, It was like they were in a dead heat, and when you and I were looking at it, we're like, well, they got a ton of injuries on defense, and I'll be honest with you, I'm going to take the odds and chances that Patrick Mahomes in the offense and the guys who might be returning like Pacheco or Hollywood down the road will solve it.
No, I mean, I think if you look at the last 3 games in particular, I put a lot of stock in what the defense has done. I also put a lot of stock in what the offense hasn't done in those 3 weeks. Both can be true. Your defense has been improving. Your offense, though, has been basically stagnant and the same. And the question about the left tackle is the same question that we have. I would still like to see DJ Humphries get another opportunity. It sounds like that's not going to happen on Saturday based on him not practicing yesterday. We'll see today another light practice expected. We'll find that out later on in the show. The practice availability, as we know, Patrick Mahomes did practice in full. So I don't know if DJ Humphries is available Christmas Day against Pittsburgh. I want to see him get one more crack at it to have a definitive answer on the left tackle spot and what it's going to be. Once we have that, and doesn't mean it's a positive answer, but once we have that answer on if DJ Humphries is capable of being that guy or not, then maybe the view changes. What does it look like with Hollywood Brown? Maybe the view changes. But as it currently sits, this is a team that's going to be carried by the defense if they're going to go on a run, it looks like.
It does feel that way again. And again, this time I would just hope for the offense to be a little bit closer. And in the playoffs, it was a lot closer. In the playoffs, it's not that the defense didn't perform well. They did. But the offense way picked up its end. Let's just say of the, 14 teams in the NFL playoffs last year, the Chiefs were probably the second or third best offense for the entire run. No matter how many games they played, whether it be 1 or 4 or 3, they're probably the second best offense in the entire postseason run last year, and they were the number 1 defense in the entire postseason run last year. So the gap closed once the playoffs started, which I think will happen with the Chiefs. But again, Mahomes is going through a stretch I haven't seen before. The turnover stopped, but he still looks so off. The whole offense looks off. And I think it could be boiled down to if you have no time. We talk about this all the time. If you have no time at left tackle, do you think it's an accident that Caleb Williams looks bad and their offensive line is bad, or C.J. Stroud is having a way worse year and his offensive line is no good, or hell, the graph I've pointed out to you a couple of times of Matthew Stafford's performance by season based on the level of protection he gets, and the same for Jared Goff. Mahomes is not immune to it. It is catching up with him how bad the offensive line is. So to your point, the only thing that would change this conversation for me is if DJ Humphries comes in there and starts giving you top 20 left tackle play, because then maybe you wouldn't be feeling that heat. But also, are all the bad habits so ingrained at this point that reversing it at this stage of the season based on the way the tackle play's been may be irreversible?
And that's where the bye week maybe comes into play. And that's not necessarily talking about sitting him the rest of the regular season. I'm referencing whether the bye is week 18 or the bye is wild card weekend, hopefully, because they have a number 1 seed. What does that do? Is there like a mental reset that actually can accomplish something? I don't know. But that's one thing. If you're asking, how does it get fixed for what you just described? I don't know. Maybe eventually, if he does get the wild card weekend off and they're sitting in the number 1 seed and everybody takes a deep breath, maybe that's good for him. Not even talking about the ankle, just truly from a mental side. I don't know if that's what it is. I mean, sometimes we make too much out, to be the mental side of it for some of the decision making and yips and things like that. I have no idea. I think ultimately it is that it goes back to the lack of trust from the offensive line, and then that has impacted his decision making because there's not a lot of trust there, and hard to blame him still because we just saw ultimately one of those hits just now cost him an ankle injury. Looks like it's not going to cost him the game on Saturday the way things are trending. It looks like he's going to be available to play after being a full participant, but it's definitely part of the equation. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I just can't I can't ignore the fact that, it's been going like this considering it.
Did what happened on Sunday against Cleveland, though, cause Andy Reid maybe to step back himself and recognize that, you know what, I kind of screwed this whole thing up. And we've acknowledged that this game against Cleveland, while they won, and ultimately that's what matters, play calling, some of the challenges, all of it was not the sharpest game from Andy Reid. I think that's very fair to say for a guy that's going to be a future Hall of Famer. It wasn't. And if we all agree that it was a bad game from the coaching staff offensively, that includes Andy Reid as well as Matt Nagy and everybody involved on the offensive game plan, because your quarterback got hurt, sometimes it sounds stupid, like you shouldn't wait till someone gets hurt. But sometimes once the injury happens to your quarterback, does that actually cause you to figure out ways to protect him more, as in run the ball more, as in
he stopped running a quarterback sneak 5 years ago because of it.
Getting the ball out quicker in terms of with your play calling and how you go about that. The injury might actually cause them to step back and say, okay, whoa, we caught another break here. He's got an ankle injury, but he's not out for the season. Thank goodness. Is there belief in your mind? I think there is a chance that because the injury happened, it might actually cause Andy and the coaching staff to adjust truly how they go about their business.
Andy's a good enough coach, I just assume it will. We talked about the QB sneak stuff a million times on this show, but he got hurt one time and they stopped doing it. And Patrick Mahomes has had ankle injuries before, but in less controlled environments. He stepped back. Now, here's part of the problem. might also mean he does less 4th downs, especially in like tight situations in which there's an argument not to go for it. I didn't want him to go for that 4th and 3. But yes, I think Andy Reid has to look at that game. He's going to look at that game and be like, what the hell was I doing here? We have no offensive line play. I'm starting a guard at tackle and a backup guard at guard. And I'm having Patrick Mahomes step back to throw 40-plus times in a game in which we led by 3 touchdowns 70% of the game and had a 2-touchdown lead for the entire 4th quarter. And I still had him fading back to throw. I understand that part of this is very simple. The Chiefs is an advantage-based offense right now, which means probably when Patrick Mahomes steps up to the line, they're daring you to pass. They're saying, go ahead. Go nuts. In that case, sometimes, sorry, the clock is a bigger friend of yours. And Andy has made that mistake before. Like, you go back to that Colts playoff game forever ago. Like, and you do the math.
Isn't that part of the problem, though? Because even though I would like to think the injury is going to cause a shift, but you're referencing games from many, many years ago, as in this is something that he can't help himself.
Clock management, which is essentially what this conversation is, goes back to that. But in fairness, because of the injury, I feel like it's a little different. Nobody was hurt in that game, right? Just a normal situation. He got Mahomes hurt. He did. Andy Reid got him hurt. Yeah, sure. Somebody could have blocked better or whatever, but he didn't even have to put him in that position. It was a 4th and 3 in which they didn't have to go for it. They certainly could have run or ran a quick pass or a million other things that keeps Mahomes off his ass. Gold, like we keep a running list all the time in the middle of these rundowns. And in the 2nd quarter, early 3rd quarter of that game, we're already in there being like, he's going to get hurt. Like at some point, he's going to get hurt if you just keep running it like this, where he's got to step back and take 7-step drops 40 times in a game. And then immediately, of course, the ankle injury gets rolled up on. I do think Andy will learn a lesson because I think he knows about keeping his quarterback healthy. And he knows that if he can just keep him healthy for 1 to 2 more games and get wins, then he can give him all the time in the world he needs to rest, and he'll probably go back to his old ways. Can you keep him healthy for the rest of the regular season, including this game? I think so. I think his game plan will be more run-heavy against the Texans than it has been in weeks.
We'll see. I hope. It's definitely, I do agree with one text. Someone says, guys, we've been griping about this very thing for 12 years. There's absolutely truth to that. Absolutely true.
And also 3 Super Bowl titles, so I'm not saying Andy's never made an adjustment.
Yeah, I do think, though, when your quarterback gets hurt, it does cause you to think differently. I really believe that. Other than like the general issue that people have brought up throughout the coaching career of clock management or whatever, I do think when your QB is hurt or you just, quote-unquote, got him hurt, that it causes you, at least for a game. I'm not saying that like for the rest of the time he's now going to adjust. For one game, though, I could see maybe an adjustment, and we'll find out on Saturday. We'll talk to Ross Tucker, Odyssey NFL Insider, about that very thing coming up in 10 minutes. But the big news in the NFL last night was that the Atlanta Falcons pulling the plug on Kirk Cousins. It is the Michael Penix era now in Atlanta. They are still alive for a playoff spot. They're still alive in that division, as a matter of fact. They won their game against the Raiders on Monday Night Football, but it was ugly. It was a pathetic game. Kirk Cousins only completed 11 passes. They were not willing to let him throw the ball except on like 4 or 5 straight 3rd downs. They were able to run the ball. That's why they won the game, and the Raiders also are a bad football team. But when you get to a point where your play calling is so bad because you don't trust your quarterback, that's all you need to know. And I'll give them slight credit for pulling the plug on Kirk Cousins. It would have been very easy, considering all the noise about their draft pick and Michael Penix, to say, no, we're going to prove you guys wrong. We're sticking with our guy. They got criticized at the time, and they still are.
I think rightfully so.
Rightfully so, for drafting Michael Penix in the top 10 after signing Kirk Cousins to a massive deal. They got destroyed for it, as they should. You can still, I think, acknowledge today, though, that there's a slight bit of props I'll give them for willing to make the switch. Now, the switch wouldn't have been necessary if they made the correct decision earlier, but a lot of teams would have said, we're sticking with the veteran the entire year.
Sure.
Screw it. I give them a little bit of credit for going to Michael Penix here. The problem for them is now you've already decided for next year, like it's the Michael Penix era. Like, so Kirk Cousins is done in Atlanta Falcons uniform one way or the other. And financially, you can't just cut him. $60 million dead cap hit.
Gonna have to. Here's the truth. They're gonna have to cut Kirk Cousins. He's not gonna turn into a backup, so that's already out. They could trade him and only suffer a $30 million cap hit, but he has a no trade clause, so he can essentially do the exact same thing Derek Carr did to the Raiders, which is, why would I let you choose the place I'm going to go for less money? Pay me all my money, and I will go find any team who will sign me, and I can just Russell Wilson this thing. I can go take bare minimum with a team to go win and succeed around somebody else. I don't owe you any favors. Here's the problem with Penix, is that all the reporting yesterday is like, oh, but they love Penix. I'm like, they also loved Kirk Cousins.
Of course.
I don't trust their judgment right now. Their judgment is poor. They decided to pay a quarterback a ton of money only to get rid of him after 10 games, and now I'm supposed to believe they're the quarterback whisperers in the draft? I don't think so. There were a lot of available free agent quarterbacks this year who have performed admirably. Look at what Sam Darnold and others have done. They chose the wrong free agent quarterback, way overpaid for him, and are now shifting. Now, I will, again, give you credit because I'm a big believer, or give them credit, because I am a big believer in don't get stuck in the sunk cost fallacy, which they're not doing. Their cost is sunk. They're going to have to pay Kirk Cousins a lot of money to go away. But at least they're not just sticking with it, even though it's hideous in the middle of a playoff.
And they're trying to save their season, and I think they recognize if they're going to go on a run here, and they have to get in the playoffs, Michael Penix gives them a better chance to win. And that's the question you have to ask yourself, and they did, and they gave themselves the honest answer. And the answer is not Kirk Cousins. And look, I've been a pretty staunch Kirk Cousins defender throughout his career, certainly the last 2 years in particular. He's not the same quarterback. He's just not. And I don't know if that's, hey, he needs another year Achilles, or this is who he is now. I don't know. We'll find out next year.
Injury.
Yeah, and for his sake, I hope it's just, hey, he needs more time, and he never, some players were able to come back from an Achilles quicker, and some weren't, and they rushed it.
And he's 38,
and he's
so
38 years
take
old.
a little longer.
Now, if Kirk Cousins gets cut in March, the Falcons will have paid him $90 million to play in 14 football games. Whew.
They certainly didn't get their ROI.
I'm excited to see Michael Penix, though, aren't you?
He's dealt with a lot of adversity to get here. He's grateful to be Washington's quarterback, and they know that every time he takes the field, he's going to bring that big Penix energy. He's going to bring that big Penix energy. He's going to bring that big Penix energy.
That's right, Desmond Howard.
Cringe, man.
That's right, Desmond Howard. That's what the Falcons have now. Big Penix energy.
You sure you don't want to say it like Des?
No.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. You're pretty sure? Kirk Cousins landing spots. We were kind of going through those before the show. Titans, Jets.
Steelers?
Steelers, but wouldn't they just give the money to Russ instead?
That works. So you probably would just keep Russ, I think.
Like somebody, Scoob over there on Twitch said the Raiders, but they're going to be picking one or two. They're just going to take Shadur, or there's two quarterbacks essentially that are worthy
Tennessee
of
definitely
taking.
makes sense.
Here's the top 10.
The schedule
Titans.
for the Falcons. So where the Falcons are, they play host to the Giants. Good defense, but terrible football team. Nice opening game for Michael Penix. At the Commanders, going to be a really tough game because the Commanders are battling for a playoff spot, and they wrap up the season at home against the Carolina Panthers. I'm sorry, so a winnable game.
They definitely still could be in the
They're currently
playoffs.
7-7. They are a game behind the Bucs. They also own the tiebreaker though over the Bucs. I know everybody just assumes the Bucs are winning that division. Here's what Tampa has: the Cowboys, the Panthers, and the Saints. You would say
it's a pretty winnable stretch.
I would argue both teams have winnable stretches. It is not over yet for the Falcons. With Michael Penix gives them a chance, but let's not act like Michael Penix is just going to jump right in. I don't think. Do
It'd
you?
be very impressive.
That would be really, really impressive. I'm excited to see him play, though, because everybody has been talking about him since draft day. Like, man, this guy's going to sit for 2 years now and all
The
this.
NFL knows something. They flexed before Penix even got switched to quarterback.
Yeah, well.
They got now. Look, the other game they had was garbage. So this one is definitely better than that one. More so now that Penix is going to be the starter for them. Look, of course I'm interested. It's a top 10 NFL draft pick. Anytime those guys get into the league, I want to know how high their level of play can go. JJ McCarthy will interest me next year, or when you see Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. He's in that same vision of this is a high drafted quarterback. Let's see what he's got.
Are you guys going to freak out as much as you did get with Bo Nix? Because Penix is 24. He is the same age. He is the exact same age as Bo Nix.
Didn't realize that. He just feels young.
They're like 2 months apart or 3 months apart, I think.
Well, this is.
Well, then he should have success quick because he's experienced, just like Bo Nix.
This goes back to the same thing. I said
he
this
also has 2 ACL injuries or whatever he's got. He's been beaten up.
This is my whole problem with how badly Atlanta screwed this up. We said this at the draft time. His age was brought up at draft time, Drew, because he's 24 years old, and what was your plan? sit him behind Kirk for 3 years?
No, exactly.
That's a stupid plan for an older quarterback. If he's 20, let's have a conversation. But if he's 24 already,
right.
What was your plan originally? To get him in the league when he was 26? That's it. That's what Atlanta's dream was. Atlanta's dream is that Michael Penix started quarterback at 26 years old after they'd paid for 2 years of Kirk Cousins.
By the way, there's
actually better for them.
Real quick, there's offshore odds out there for which team will Kirk Cousins start for next year, week 1, if it's not the Falcons, which it's not going to be. Titans 4-1. Seattle has the next best odds, then Cleveland, New Orleans, and the Giants. Those are the teams in the top 5 odds to land Kirk Cousins. Up next, we'll talk more about Michael Penix. We'll also get Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL Insider's perspective on the Mahomes ankle injury and how he would play this whole thing out over the next couple of days.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
There are two kinds of guys out there: the hard-working, earn the victory guys, and the fake it till you make it guys. You know, the ones who build display cases for their participation trophies. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, and when those pretenders are out shopping for jewelry, they're probably shopping for lab diamonds, and that's sad because they've been sold a bill of goods, and no matter what anyone says, just like any pretender, you really can tell the difference between a lab diamond and a real natural diamond. So when she takes that lab diamond in for an appraisal and learns that you just gave her a participation trophy, well, that just might be the end of her participation. Seriously. We appraise jewelry from other stores all the time, and I've seen a lot of anger and a lot of tears. Guys, this Christmas season, I'm here for you. Earn the victory. If the love is real, she deserves a diamond that's real from a guy that's real. Come see me at House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off I-70 in Little Blue Parkway in Independence, Friday, December 20th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single-line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN+. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks. With an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Just getting started on a Wednesday here. It's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon on your home for the Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll talk more about the latest from Mahomes' practice report yesterday. Another light practice expected today, but all signs continue to point towards him playing on Saturday. And to talk more about that and how the Chiefs perhaps should handle a game on Saturday and then flipping over to Christmas and a game on Wednesday against Pittsburgh, let's talk with our Odyssey NFL insider, Ross Tucker, where Insider Calls are brought to you by Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. May your game day be delicious. Ross, appreciate it as always, man. I'll ask you, as a player, I'm sure it's awfully tough to get anybody not to play in a football game if you ask them, can you play? In this case, it's your quarterback. He's had these ankle injuries before. He's never missed a game due to an ankle injury. How would you handle this? How do you think the coaching staff is handling this week?
You know, one thing I think is really interesting about it, I actually spoke this morning with John Ritchie, you know, the former Raiders and Eagles fullback. I never heard this before, but he said it's actually easier to come back from and you're faster to come back from after you have multiple. I don't know how that makes any sense whatsoever. Yeah. I have not heard that before, but I guess he's had multiple, and that's his experience, which I think is fascinating. You know, I don't know. The guy's Gumby, man. I mean, I feel like this happens every year. I'm sure you guys know. You're Kansas City radio. How many years in a row now has he gotten a high ankle sprain, and we're all like, oh, no, I don't know what's going to happen, and then he comes back and is able to play.
This is his 6th time coming back from an ankle injury before a game. The previous 5 times he did not miss a game. So it didn't matter. Like, sometimes they were in the playoffs and they were severe injuries, or like he was limping significantly. But this will be the 6th time. If he plays on Saturday, he'll be 6 for 6 for getting a high ankle sprain and playing the same week.
Yeah, that is obviously just absurd. I can't believe that that's the case. But that's him. I mean, he has an unbelievable ability to bounce back from those things. I do think if you're Andy Reid and, you know, the organization, I think you have to consider sometimes protecting him from himself. You know, for me, I would love to see Wentz play as like a science experiment, right? You know, being a Philly guy, I'd love to see what Wentz could do for Andy Reid. You know, the thing that's weirdest to me about that, and I know you guys said they had a light workout or whatever.
Yeah.
But the strangest thing to me about that is the fully participating part of it. You know, like, even if you're telling me he's going to play in the game, which I can see, okay, fine. To fully participate in practice? I mean, guys have, like, nothing going on, and they're limited participants, you know?
I think
like, the fully participant thing almost made me skeptical.
In a weird way, the reason why it doesn't for me, Ross, is Andy Reid, there's lots of things. I think 95% of his coaching career, he's been really great at adapting. But there's a couple things he's a no-budge thing on. And one of them is, you want to play? You better practice. And I think with quarterback, it's like you better all the way practice. You don't get a half-ass out here at quarterback and then start on Saturday. I feel like that's just been his stance as a coach.
Well, and I kind of like hearing that. A lot of guys aren't that way. You know, I think that stems from his experience being able to get so many backup quarterbacks ready to play at a high level, thinking, hey, if I get a full work week and I get to show these guys, you know, exactly what this team's going to do and get them prepared, that I think I can have them play at a high level. Because I think it's like, there's obviously a lot of value in being able to practice and get those reps. The question is, like, if you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, who's been your quarterback for all these years now, would you rather have him be at 90% with only getting a couple reps in walkthrough on Friday, or 75% with getting the reps all week?
Sure.
You know, and maybe Andy doesn't look at it, but that's how I look at it. And most coaches, they prefer the guy with being as healthy as possible. Andy, I think to some extent you guys are right. It's very, very important to him that the guys practice.
The reason why this is all so much more complicated, too, is because we know they're in the middle of this 3-game and 11-day stretch, and they're playing on Saturday against Houston, and then they got to turn around and go to Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. They have the early bye week. That's been a huge topic of conversation here, both from those in the media, and also Chris Jones acknowledged how that early bye week is something that if teams are going to have to play 3 and 10 around Christmas this late in the year and stuff, that then they should have to have a later bye week. But because of that, do you think the number one seed, knowing the injury that Mahomes has right now, like the number one seed, do you think Kansas City has to win on Saturday, in your opinion? Because they got to win 2 of the next 3 if Buffalo wins out.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're the Chiefs, for a million different reasons, the number one seed is critically important. And I also think it's really interesting. They don't really have any gimme games left. You know, I mean, you play the Texans, then you're playing at Pittsburgh, which, by the way, I'll be there calling that one for Westwood One Radio.
Nice.
And then you're playing at Denver. You know, now Denver might have already clinched playoff berth by then, and they probably will, but I don't think that will affect how Sean Payton plays in that game at all. I think Sean Payton, he wants the best record possible. He wants to go into the playoffs with momentum. He wants to beat the Chiefs, all those things. So none of these games are gimmies. So I think what you really want to do, obviously, is try to clinch it as soon as possible so that you can rest as much as possible. I think getting that first week off is gigantic for both mentally and physically. And then, you know, you'd much rather be at Arrowhead than have to go to Buffalo or somewhere else for the AFC Championship game. I know they did it last year at Buffalo, at Baltimore. It's super impressive. Everything they do is super impressive. But you don't want to be in life, you don't want to be increasing your degree of difficulty, right? Just because you can do something, you know, just because you can do the quadruple Lindy off the diving board doesn't mean that's the dive you should do every time.
When you look at what Buffalo is, are you worried? So, like, every team's got a fatal flaw. I think that's just kind of the nature of the NFL 90% of every year. Every once in a while, there's some team that has it all. Bills defense, how worried are you of that for them? Because over the last 2 weeks, they're 1-1, but they've given up like 85 points.
Yeah, definitely concerned, and they should be. It has not been good on that side of the ball. part of me wonders a little bit against Detroit because the offense was so unstoppable and has been, and they had a double-digit lead a lot in that game. So I think part of me wonders a little bit how much of that was like, hey, let's play a little bit softer. Let's not give up anything cheap and deep. We don't want to, we're up 2 scores, and they kind of were yielding yards as slowly as possible. But it is a concern. Now, their safeties were hurt. Milano got hurt during the game. But how can you not be concerned when you just gave up 40 points 2 weeks in a row? I mean, that's, when you watch the Super Bowl video after the season for the team that won it, they usually don't talk about the back-to-back weeks late in the season where they gave up over 40 points 2 weeks in a row. Right?
I honestly don't think the Chiefs have given up 40 points in like 3 years.
Exactly. That's exactly correct.
Ross, like when you look at the rest of the AFC wildcard teams, I am curious on that end. Which of the wildcard teams do you take the most serious? We know Chiefs and Bills are 1-2. Let's take out the other division winners right now at the moment, or at least the Texans out of this. What are the wildcard teams that you're like, yeah, that's the one that really scares me in the AFC?
Yeah, I think it's whoever doesn't win it out of win the AFC North, out of Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Because do I think the Broncos and Chargers could give you a good game or give anybody a good game? Yeah, but it's a lot different in the NFC. I mean, the NFC, your first 2 wild cards are probably going to be the Vikings and the Packers. Those are legit teams I could see in the Super Bowl. The only wild card team I could see in the Super Bowl would be the Baltimore Ravens. Even if the Pittsburgh Steelers are a wild card, I could see them winning a game, maybe 2, but they're not good enough to go on the road 3 straight weeks and beat really good teams. I don't see that happening. I do think Baltimore could pull it off. The way Lamar Jackson's playing this year, their belief, their pedigree, they could pull it off. I'm not saying they're gonna, but they're by far the most dangerous wild card team.
We're talking our Odyssey NFL insider, Ross Tucker. Lastly, I want to get your perspective on Michael Penix era beginning in Atlanta. That news last night. I understand the criticism, of course, around the draft pick selection to begin with, since they had signed Kirk Cousins, and I know everybody was calling them idiots at the time of drafting. But now I think they deserve a slight bit of credit that they're willing to pull the plug on Kirk Cousins. A lot of teams, I feel like, would have just held through this whole thing and kind of said, hey, no, we paid this guy this kind of money. We've got to keep playing Kirk Cousins.
Yep. So let's start with signing Kirk Cousins. Loved that decision. They had the worst quarterback play in the NFL the last 2 years. Arthur Smith would still be their head coach if he had Kirk Cousins the last 2 years. That made perfect sense. Had no qualms with that whatsoever. I know he's coming off the Achilles. What I don't understand about Cousins right now is how he's gotten worse during the season. I get it. He's in the new offense. I get it coming off the injury. But he was playing pretty well. Like, they were winning shootouts when they were 6-3. I don't know what happened that he dropped off like this. That's the weird part of it to me that I don't really understand. So that's a sunk cost, though. And I'm a big fan of when teams realize that something or someone is a sunk cost and that you're paying them the money regardless, and that trotting him out there and continuing to play him because, quote unquote, we gave him all that money, that's compounding your mistake. That's compounding your error. Penix almost can't possibly be worse than what we've seen from Cousins the last couple weeks. He's really been that bad. I mean, it's been really, really bad. And so they can't do the play action stuff, the boot stuff. I think this is the right decision at the right time. It's unfortunate that the Cousins thing didn't work out, but it is what it is. And, I hated the decision to draft Penix Jr. because I felt like getting a defensive player at 8 could have been the difference between playoffs or not. But now doubling down at the quarterback position looks very, very smart.
Last quick question for you, Ross, and then we'll let you get out of here. We have the company Christmas party tonight, open bar. What's the acceptable amount of drinking in that situation?
Yeah, that's a terrific question. It really depends on how well you can hold your liquor. You know, like you don't strike me as someone that can have that many and still be able to handle a good conversation with your boss.
That's fair.
I'm thinking for you, maybe one or two like Coors Lights.
Okay.
But on the other hand, Adam's a rock star. I've seen Adam at work. I've seen both of you guys at work, but I've seen Adam with all the ladies hitting on him. Like, I've seen the whole deal.
Oh, you say you did see Alex. You saw a waitress get a number from a waitress, right?
That's right. Did I say Adam? I meant Alex.
You're good.
Alex,
You're good. We knew what you
Cody
meant.
and Alex. Sorry,
Yeah,
Alex.
you're good, man.
I don't know why I said Adam there. It's no big deal. I only do like 20 of these a day. So I've seen Alex work, and Alex, like, he's got the hair. He's I think Alex can put down 5 to 7 IPAs or like vodka tonics and still totally be able to handle himself. So I also don't know how secure you guys are in your jobs. I don't know your boss. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I don't know who all is going to be at the Christmas party. I don't know, like, are there going to be sponsors there?
Nope.
Because on the one hand, you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of sponsors. On the other hand, if you drink a healthy amount, I'll say, with sponsors, that could lock those guys up for years to come. You know, if you guys go out with them after the party, you go to like an after party with them, you could really, like, they could be your boys and loyal sponsors for years. There's all kinds of factors in play, but really it's self-scouting is the most important. You got to know who you are, what you can handle. I've been in those situations. I've had situations where I had to tell somebody, listen, man, like, I really think you should leave. I think this is going to turn out poorly for you. You know, it's usually like the 25-year-old that's so excited about the open bar that they go and they're drinking. It's like, hey, listen, man, like, you could do something in the next hour that gets you fired. How about just going home and calling it a night?
I think on this show, that's more likely to be Cody. Actually,
come on.
I think that's.
I can handle myself.
Yeah, I think that might be you. That's good advice from Ross, though. I think. Yeah. Ross, appreciate it, man. Happy holidays. We'll check in a couple weeks.
Sounds great. Great talking with you guys. See ya.
There you go. Ross Tucker, Odyssey NFL Insider. Every Wednesday on the show, Insider Calls brought to you by Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. You can purchase Hellman's at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store to add extra deliciousness and creamy flavor to your game day dishes this football season.
Know your game is actually really, I think that's kind of maybe the most important thing. No one's saying you have to have one or you can't have 6. They're saying, what are you at those numbers? Know your game, know your comfort, know the company, know who you're around. There's a lot of factors in this.
So based on what you said, I need to have like a sip and then I'm done.
No, well, I mean, here's
according
the thing.
According to what you think,
I said you're a lightweight, but I didn't say that you're not a friendly lightweight. Like, I don't know how you act when you're, just as long as you're not making a fool of yourself. I think you're okay. I've only made a fool of myself drunk in front of mixed company on this station once, and that was in front of Roxanne at that concert.
I've been drunk, maybe like 3 or 4 times in my life, and I apparently am a very good person. I'm a very happy person. I'm chill and I'm laid back.
3 times in your life.
I'm not an angry person. Now, my brother, on the other hand,
one time before that Wisconsin game, though, you were still feeling it.
People on the text line.
That's because I got food poisoning as well.
That's right.
That was tough.
People on the text line are said Rob Tucker is the best.
He's called you Alex every time. He's done this a million times in a row.
He does do like 20 hits at other stations. There is, someone says Adam Gold. There actually is a radio show. I think it's in Raleigh, North Carolina, where their show, it's whatever and Gold, and the host is named Adam Gold. So I don't know if he does a show.
Wait, there's a different show? With Adam Gold. Huh?
Mm-hmm. So it happens. We've met Ross multiple times in person. We've had dinner with him before. We've seen him at Super Bowl events and stuff before. So he just that's a slip of the tongue.
Yeah, the Adam Gold show. That's a real person.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm sure there's a lot of Adam Golds out there.
Host middays. Yeah. On 99.9, The Fan in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Adam Gold. He's been doing his Twitter handle's like Gold Show or something like that. I know exactly who it is. That might be what
you guys met or something.
Had him on the show because in Boise we thought it was funny at the time. The show in Boise I did was called, very unique, The Drive with Joey and Gold, and their show was Gold, and it was like Joey and Gold as well, but in another city, and so it was funny. And we had him on. We basically had each other on the show. But whatever, nobody cares about that. But yeah,
that explains something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just curious. That's fine. Everybody makes mistakes when they speak.
I
gave
still
great
think
advice outside
at the station, who's most likely to... Nobody's going to make a fool of themselves. But who's most likely to make a fool of themselves?
We've been in a lot of station events.
I think the answer is... I don't know.
Oh, you think there's an obvious answer?
No,
there's a name that came to mind clearly, Drew.
Power rank 'em.
Yeah, there's a name that automatically popped in your head clearly, right there.
I gotta stay out of this.
Who is it?
Well,
Cody can't get in a spat with another host of the station. That already happened this week.
Cody. Take a guess.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he can't... Actually, you know what? You should say it because you're already arguing with the person you might be thinking of.
He wants to say Dusty.
He does.
He
does.
He wants to say Dusty Likens. I had nothing to do with this.
We know Dusty. Shout out to Dusty. We know Dusty's personality is great. A couple drinks.
He's great.
A couple drinks.
You think he might say something he shouldn't?
Not necessarily that. It's just that he's gonna Dusty. A loose Dusty. I'm not saying it's dangerous, but a loose Dusty is yeah. I think you guys are both thinking the same thing.
If it's the whole bill, that's tough. I've been to us. Yeah, I've been to like 5 station events with Dusty versus like
you guys are on record saying Dusty before. I know you guys have said Dusty before.
Maybe at the wedding. That might have been our answer for the wedding.
Exactly. That was the wedding.
I don't remember now. I was high on everyone's list too. We'll see.
Jeez.
Oh. Me and you, Dusty. Let's get after it tonight, you know?
So now you're challenging other people now.
I don't challenge. I said I'm going to text Dusty now. I was inviting him to hang out and drink together. That's all.
It's a company party. I'm going to have like 2 drinks and that's it. Let's be real. That's what's happening tonight. That's going to be a very casual company.
Gold's always the least likely. He's very careful in full company standing.
Yeah, but I'm also driving home. So
that's a very real thing.
We're going to have 2 drinks and then we'll call it a night. Anyway, let's talk more about Mahomes because we asked Ross Tucker about Patrick Mahomes, and he thought the practice participation was kind of interesting. And I think a lot of people were surprised, honestly, when they saw the practice report come out and find out full participant. Like, okay, good to go. We also, of course, heard from Mahomes yesterday, and he sounded very confident in playing on Saturday. It turns out it was a very light practice. There was the photo from the Kansas City Star that was circulating where Mahomes was clearly grimacing, just kind of stretching. And so he's playing through pain or practicing through pain, and he's going to have to play through pain if he plays on Saturday. I think that's pretty evident. Today's practice, if they ramp it up more and he's suddenly limited, don't be alarmed. It just kind of makes sense. I honestly thought he was going to be limited in any practice this week.
I did not expect him to be a full participant. Like, I just don't, I don't know, and that is nuts that he was even out there. Now, look, they called it pretty light. So calling him a full participant might just mean he needed to physically be on the field for a verbal walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like full participant relative in this standing. But I think the same thing applies to what I just said. I don't think Mahomes wants to give up first-team reps because then Andy won't be tempted to start Wentz. And I know that that's like deep conspiracy theory, and Patrick's like, oh, I trust Wentz. And Andy's like, oh, of course we trust Wentz. He knows that if he concedes a certain number of first-team reps, Andy will then be tempted to put somebody else in. If he just practices all week, takes the reps, then there's no getting Carson Wentz ready. He's going to play. I guess the only question I would have is the obvious, which is, are you at risk of making this thing more irritated by making him be out there for the full time versus just treating it and letting him play?
It sounds like yesterday was almost like a walkthrough type of light practice. So I agree with you, but they also need to test it early enough in the week and find out where it's at. Like, is he able? He was able to go through a light practice. If it was even worse, then we would have been seeing he was limited at that practice, which would have been, I guess, more alarming. So we'll see. Today is more of a test. Like later on this afternoon, when we find out did he truly make it through practice fully? Then yeah, he flat out said that this ankle injury is not as bad as the one he had post Jacksonville game.
And he was pretty hindered in that next game. Like, he looked pretty rough moving around. But it's always the same thing. Like, the second that time called for it, right? The second he had to, like, run, he could still move. Like, and I don't know if there's any truth to what he's saying about Alec Ingold, where he's just like...
Or John Ritchie.
Sorry. Where he's just like, I don't know, man. The more I had him, the easier it was to come back from him. Maybe it's just like a pain tolerance. Like, you know the feeling of it. You know how you move with it. This is like his 6th ankle injury, and I don't think it's an accident that he's played in every single game outside of that. Was I a little surprised to see full participant yesterday? Maybe a little. Less so after we listened to him talk, in which The second they put him at the podium and he started talking about it, I'm like, does that sound like a player who's missing Saturday's game to anybody?
No, you listen to, we can play the cut again. You listen to what Patrick Mahomes said multiple times throughout his media availability. It's hard to believe he's not finding a way to go out there and play in the football game.
Yeah, I think that you have to. That's the reason you play this game is to push to play. So I'll get to work at practice and try to push it to see where I can get to. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to put our team in a bad position. So if I feel like I can play and go out there and win a football game, I'll play. And if I don't feel like that's the best case scenario, I'll let guys like Carson play. He's a guy that's won in this league as well. So it's just about pushing it this week, seeing where I'm at, and making the best decision then.
And today's probably the if it's a full practice, a true full practice, then maybe they push it. But it sounds as if because of the amount of games in a short period of time, all these practices are going to be lighter than normal practices. So
they're protecting themselves for the next 11 days. That's what still makes the decision to pass on 4th and 3 make no sense.
Coming up next, though,
protect him now, but what about then?
We'll take a look at the rest of the NFL. There's a lot of teams that could clinch this weekend and could be a nightmare scenario for the NFL when it comes to that. We'll also have a wild trash of the day that takes us to Lawrence next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare and you want out, you need to get the facts. Wesley Financial Group and its founder, Chuck McDowell, have helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshares permanently, and he may be able to help you too. Call right now. Chuck will send you a timeshare exit information guide free explaining how your timeshare works and all your options for cancellation. You want to call Wesley Financial Group, 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Once again, 800-761-0000.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and that means limited time savings on the paint pros need. Right now, save $15 on 5-gallon pails of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams All-Purpose Power Primer. Plus, get it delivered to your job site with free same-day delivery when you order by 2 p.m. Visit us in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 12/20. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
This Friday only in Old Navy stores. Long sleeve tees are just $5 for adults and $4 for kids. Yep, long sleeve tees are $5 for adults, $4 for kids. But hurry, this deal is one day only this Friday at Old Navy stores. Valid 12/20 in stores and select styles only.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning diamond pendant, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer. Or maybe you're looking for that perfect gemstone piece or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
Many people consider selling their homes independently
independently to save on real estate commissions. While this might seem appealing, especially in today's market, independent sellers often overlook the significant financial benefits of working with a professional. Collaborating with an expert like Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, can greatly enhance your profits and overall experience in the selling process. So contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. You can Google Dawn and her team at Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com.
Hello, I am fabulous.
Oh, you mean like Kansas Lottery's Fabulous Fortune Instant Ticket Fabulous?
I mean like I speak 5 languages and come from old money fabulous.
Oh, well, Fabulous Fortune can lay some new money on you. 4 chances at $500,000 to be exact.
Talk more.
Fabulous Fortune also gives you a second chance at $500,000 with the Play On app.
I think I've been out fabulous.
Really?
No.
Okay, play Fabulous Fortune. CKSLottery.com for details.
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Get up to $5,000 off the 24 Jetta, 24 Taos, and 24 Tiguan, and up to $8,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. Hurry in before we sell out of 24s. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Celebrate the magic of the season with last-minute deals at Target. With up to 50% off toys and video games, you'll save so much while you finish your list. Plus, you'll find incredible deals on clothing, beauty, small appliances, floor care, and so much more. And there are even more ways to save when you join Target Circle for free and get exclusive deals automatically. Hurry to save on gifts before last-minute deals are over. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City, proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Texans game with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
$11 hour.
Just like once a day, he plays a Christmas song.
11 hour on a Wednesday. Coming up a little bit later on today, 12:30, we'll talk some Royals baseball. The general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, going to join us here on 96.5 The Fan. It's been a bit since we checked in on him. Winter meetings have taken place. You know, what's the latest with what he has to say about Michael Massey and Jonathan India, left field, who could play there. Cody Bellinger was traded to the Yankees yesterday. That was a name I know at least Royals fans were keeping an eye on. We'll ask him, were the Royals in on those discussions with the Chicago Cubs or not?
Also, does the general manager get invited to all these weddings?
Oh.
So, like, was JJ Picollo at Bobby Witt Jr.'s wedding?
That's a good question. That's a good question because there's that balance. I wonder in Bobby's case if there is. I mean, he's the GM that did give you the largest contract in franchise history.
He gave you $300 million. He'd be getting an invite to my party.
I think. Now, whether he win is a different story, right? But invite, I think if that's we should ask Vinny this question too. If Vinny invited the GM, I don't know. We can ask JJ that. I would think Bobby sent an invite. Yeah.
The question is, did he make it?
Yeah, that who knows? There's a lot of reasons why
I
you don't
know
make
I'd
it.
pass it up. I gave him $300 million.
He's busy.
Well, he is. You know, you want to make a move. He's working, right? Doing that kind
I'll
of stuff.
tell you this. If I got an invite to that wedding the way it looked, I'd find a way to be there. I'll tell you that.
I'd have been there. I can assure you. I'd have missed as much show as it took to be there. There's no doubt about that. So, yeah, we'll talk to him at 12:30.
Let's take a look at where things are at heading into Week 16 across the league. There's a ton of clinching scenarios this weekend, and I think it's setting up. If you're the NFL, you're getting a little worried. You're like, wait a second. The intrigue around Week 17 and 18 may not be there. This is the consequence of stacking Christmas Day games. This is the consequence of having these Saturday games as well, and basically selling your soul to your TV partners that your slate on Sundays are getting weaker and weaker late in the year. And that's what we're seeing. But there's also the scenario of If the Chargers beat the Broncos, if they clinch, if Tennessee beats Indy, if San Fran beats Miami, Cleveland beats Cincy, we would have all 7 playoff spots determined. Not necessarily the seeding, but the spots. We would know if that exact scenario happens I just laid out. Chargers win, Tennessee wins, Niners win, Cleveland wins. We would know that Buffalo, Kansas City, Houston, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Denver, and LA are actually locked in. We all kind of think those are the teams anyway, but it would officially lock them in.
That's kind of crazy.
The stat that was out there, no conference, AFC, NFC, has had all playoff teams locked in with 2 weeks to play since the merger back in 1970. That's not what the NFL wants. They want Denver to beat the Chargers. They would like Miami to beat the Niners.
They want Cincy to have a shot at Week 18. Sure, but all those teams are like 5, 7, 8% chance. And so, like, I think the AFC, I don't remember. You said, well, I don't know if it's decided because there was still plenty of time left. I think it was like 3 weeks ago. I said, I think we know all the teams. Like, I think at the time I said, other than the NFC South winner,
yeah, but didn't you
feels like we know all the teams.
You said last week, though, that the Broncos weren't making the playoffs.
I said if they lost to the Colts.
Okay, gotcha.
And they didn't. Now, in fairness, I think they should have lost to the Colts.
But
Jonathan Taylor couldn't hold on to the ball on the half-inch yard line.
Very true.
So that added an entire complication. I think as it sits right now, you can start parsing this out if you're Kansas City and decide which of these teams in the AFC scare you. No, I'll say there's a couple that are just straight up bad matchups for you. The Broncos games, the Chargers games have been close. You got to face them a third time. You have already beaten them probably 4-0. The Bills beat you. You'll see the Steelers again. You'll see the Texans again. Every single playoff team currently in the AFC playoff field, this is not to be a small note, the Chiefs will have played on their schedule. They would have played the Bills, Steelers, Texans, and Ravens all once. They would have played the Broncos and Chargers twice. They would have been, 7-1 against those, 8-1 against those teams, or whatever the hell it would have been, 7-1 against those teams overall in that. But could you imagine an entire AFC playoff field in which you've played every team already? Look, one in week 1, the second one all the way down to week 18. But, I mean, you would have faced them at some point.
How much of an advantage is that?
The NFC is the far more interesting conference.
How much of an advantage is that for, I guess, either team? Like, obviously, the Chiefs, you think, okay, maybe Andy hasn't shown the whole playbook, but also they've seen you a couple times as well. The Bills, for example, of course, the Chiefs didn't have Hollywood Brown, et cetera. The Bills didn't have Dalton Kincaid or Keon Coleman.
Yeah,
correct.
Those two teams, it's funny. They're going to look a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, week 3 games, week 4 games compared to playoffs.
Yeah, week 1 Ravens, that was probably the least important.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens are a different team. The Chiefs are clearly a different team. I was just looking at potential matchups, too, that you see right now, knowing that, hey, if the Steelers lose, then suddenly on Saturday, then the Ravens could absolutely still win that division, and then the Steelers would bump to a wild card. But right this second, we know the Texans are the only team locked into their seed. Like, the Texans are going to be the 4th seed, barring some miracle happening where the Steelers were to lose, and then the Ravens were to lose, and the Steelers, it would have to be something pretty bizarre for the Texans would have to win out, most likely. But they're going to be the 4th seed, which means right now, the Ravens would be going to Houston. And wild card weekend, I like that matchup in general. That to me would be a really intriguing game. I think Baltimore would be a very popular pick for most people in that scenario. You would have currently the Broncos would be going to 3-seed Pittsburgh in the opening wild card weekend. 7-seed Chargers would be going to Buffalo wild card weekend, and the Chiefs, of course, would have the bye if the playoffs began today. So some of those matchups, seeing the Chargers go to Buffalo, I think the Bills would win the game, but I also think that would be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I think that's what the key is. I don't think that goes back to the 1 seed. We talk about health and injury and all this other stuff all the time, and just the ability to play one less game. I don't love a lot of the matchups for the teams at the bottom of the AFC playoff field for the Chiefs because they have played in a lot of ugly games against the Chiefs this year. Okay, just like the Broncos, the Chargers, these are the teams you would likely face, another divisional opponent who you would have faced 4 times this year total. We go back to the same thing. It's always hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, especially divisional games. Nick Bonito and the Denver Broncos defense lines up well with Kansas City. Same with the offensive line, which once again had a 100 rating from Pro Football Focus for like the 4th week in a row, Denver's offensive line. So you know you're not getting a lot of pressure because they're better at it. But again, the NFC is the far more interesting conference. You know the Lions and the Eagles are going to make it. You know the Vikings and Packers are going to make it, in my opinion. Although the Packers, technically, they're only a game up on the Commanders, who are only a game up on Seattle, so maybe there's a little wiggle room there. I think your only questions are do the Rams hold on, which I think they will, and whether or not where the Vikings and Packers land, and will the Commanders hold on? Those are the only two questions I think remaining for both playoff fields.
There's still the one. So I guess if things go the way that we had in the rundown, if let's say Cincinnati beats Cleveland, actually.
Oh no! Here we go. Here we go.
Are you going to tell us how Cleveland can make? I thought you married.
No.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what it would be after this week. If the Bengals were to beat the Browns and the Colts and Miami were to lose, then it would just be between the Broncos and the Bengals. If the Chargers beat the Broncos this weekend and the Bengals beat the Broncos and Bengals play each other next week. If the Bengals beat the Broncos, then it comes down to that Week 18 matchup where it's still between the Bengals and the Broncos.
I'll give you credit.
The Broncos win. The Broncos clinch if they win this weekend. They're in, and the Bengals are out.
When you hear it, I'll say this: your scenario passes the smell test, right? Broncos lose a divisional game, then Cincinnati gets to control its own destiny next week, and then let's see what happens Week 18. But that implies that Cincinnati can win 3 consecutive games. They're on an all-time heater this season.
They've won 6 all year.
2 in a row.
They've won 6 all year.
That's
that's the issue. Is they've won anytime we did this. The same conversation came up when they were a 4-win team, and it was like, yeah, but they could win these 7 games. I'm like, they've won 4, so why do I think they can win 7? Like,
sure.
I told you, I want your Cincinnati Bengals to keep on winning. I want them to finish 9-8. And all of a sudden be picking 17th in the draft instead of where they could have been picking, which was like 10th. So this is great news for other AFC teams. I hope they keep on winning. Why are you doing this to yourself? You buried them a couple weeks ago. Do not get your hopes up. I must say,
psychology.
We were
wait to get your hopes up until
we were given a sign.
Oh yeah, we didn't know if you should have it.
We were given a sign from our boss earlier, and there's no way we're putting this in the. It was going to be in the garage sale, but we're not going to put it in the garage sale because we want to raise money. We don't want to have to pay people to get items from us. It is a reserve parking Bengals fan only. Now the question is,
had one of those before.
Pristine shape.
I think we should just give it to Drew, but some people we already pulled them. And they suggested we burn this live on the air.
Hold on, the big boss gave me an Anthony Munoz and Ken Anderson photo. I feel like I feel like this would be
where
great.
this came from.
Is it autographed or just a photo of them?
It's just a photo of them, but
okay.
I mean, we could burn it. We could just flat out rip it and cut it.
Oh man, it looks like it'd rip easy.
It would. I mean, this.
Can we see the sticker on the back?
This is going to be over
Drew's vintage.
This is going to be over Drew's toilet or something in his apartment.
Hey, no, the only
parking like for your ass.
The only reason I'm bringing this up is because 5 weeks ago I told you the scenario in which it would be great if the Bengals played the Bills in the playoffs and then beat the Bills and then they played the Chiefs at Arrowhead. That possibility is still absolutely in play.
Drew's like
five
week
weeks
5
later.
prediction is still technically alive.
When everybody was burying the team because they were
this actually,
2
you know
and
what?
6.
Put this on your couch because this is reserved parking for Bengals. Couch while teams are playing in the playoffs.
All right, let's
maybe
go.
put this on your couch. That is reserved for Bengals fans and Bengals players. Jamar Chase just sitting on his couch.
All I'm saying is that if it gets into if everything goes the way that it needs to, and then the Bengals beat the Broncos, would you rather, if you're the Chiefs? The 1 seed, the 1 seed, I guess, sure, is locked up. Would you rather beat the Broncos and give Cincy a chance of making it, or would you rather
I want the 1
have
seed,
the Broncos?
Drew.
No. I know if it's already locked in.
He's saying the 1 seed's locked.
Would you rather? Would you rather lose to the Broncos and let the Broncos in the playoffs, or beat the Broncos and possibly allow the Bengals to make the playoffs?
Well, I don't. Again, this is you thinking. I don't give a damn about Cincy this year.
No, I
know, but that's part of the answer. Like that's part of the answer. Like you're acting like, you're asking
if
me
you had to choose one.
No,
team.
so matchup wise, you like the Broncos, Matt, or you like the Bengals better?
I'm not fearful of Cincinnati in 2024. So I don't care. Yeah, they're not playing the Chiefs the opening round in this scenario. The Chiefs are the number 1 seed. Cincinnati will go to Buffalo and lose. It's not a big deal.
Denver is a very bad matchup for Kansas City. The fact that they are the only other team, I think, in the entire playoff field who is definitively better than you on the offensive line and the defensive line, both, just causes problems.
I'm just saying that Bengals team would be the hottest team in the playoffs, and the Bills just gave up 44 to the Rams.
I understand.
The Bengals could put up just as many points.
Technically, they might be the hottest team going into the playoffs, but the Chiefs have already won 5 games in a row, and just to get to the playoffs, Cincinnati would have to win 5 in a row.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it.
Oh,
the 9-win team. They'd still be a 9-win team in this scenario.
Can I point out that Cincinnati's last 2 wins, in which they're red hot. The 2 teams they have beaten are Dallas and the Titans. Can I just point that out? And the 3-game losing streak they had before this were against a playoff team, and a playoff team. So they lost against Pittsburgh, the Chargers, and Baltimore. The week before that, so their third to last win was Vegas, a loser team. The game before that, they lost to Philly. Their wins this year, this is the weakest resume. I'm just telling you.
But you don't want to see them.
I don't care. I'm with him.
Okay.
I don't care. Like, under normal circumstances, I actually agree with you. This year, I don't.
Okay.
Their wins are against the Panthers, Giants, Browns, Raiders, Dallas, and Tennessee. Are all those 6 of those teams picking in the top 10 of the NFL draft?
But it doesn't matter if you make the playoffs. It's 0-0.
I know, but like
0-0.
I don't think they remain in the playoffs. I don't think they can win 3 games in a row. Maybe I'm wrong.
I guess we'll find out. Somebody on the text line was mentioning, did this happen for the Chiefs once with Trent Green?
That was a
similar situation.
That was a single day scenario, and 17 things had to happen, and they all.
And that was going. That was
crazy.
on week. At that time
Week
it wasn't week 18, but you get what we're saying. It would be going into week 18, not 3 weeks out. And also, when the Chiefs made the playoffs, Chiefs fans weren't delusional and thought the Chiefs were going to go win the Super Bowl all of a sudden because they've snuck in the playoffs.
Hang on, I didn't say they were winning the Super Bowl.
You think they're going to win a game if they get in?
I think they can win a game.
You already buried them. They're not. This is a waste of time.
Reverse psychology, boys. It's working. It's working.
Time.
Hey, the Bengals are going to lose this weekend too, guys. Don't worry about it. The Bengals will lose. It's okay.
Who do they play?
I have
Cleveland.
no idea.
No, I don't think
They
play
play DTR.
Yeah, Cincinnati can win out, and it still doesn't matter. It doesn't mean they're in. Like, that's the thing. It's not. Cincy could win out, and they still don't get in. So it's.
I know, but it could come down. The funny thing is that it could come down to the Chiefs actually needing to make the 1 seed or not.
We're already breaking our rule. I told you I would not really talk about that team until they have a winning record, and they cannot get to a winning record unless they win the last week. So there's no reason to talk about that team. I'm on the verge of burning this thing if we don't stop this conversation.
I thought you were going to give it to me.
I am if we stop.
Fine. Let's talk about something that's bugging me that's not Cincinnati Bengals related.
Okay.
Look, life is about honest, upfront, truth-telling, all of the things that come from, an expectation of you say you're going to provide me one thing, I receive that thing. Somebody says they're going to buy Drew's couch. They give him the money to buy the couch. Not dishonesty. I couldn't believe it this weekend. And I've seen it talked about elsewhere. This weekend, Red Zone aired commercials. And unless I have been mishearing it this whole time, I thought every single week when Scott Hansen shows up on the screen gold, doesn't he say one very specific thing? Doesn't he say something just right away for the whole audience? Isn't it this? Seven hours of commercial-free football starts now. They're lying. They lied to us. I pay extra money for this channel. They say it's commercial-free football for 7 consecutive hours, and I was fed multiple commercials. And not just commercials on the side-by-side in which I cannot really see the game, but also the audio of the commercial. Not even just like something on the bottom of the screen. They're lying to us now. This is false advertisement. I think we should sue Red Zone. I think we should sue Red Zone for lying to us for false advertisement. 7 hours of commercial-free football starts now is no longer true.
You've been waiting for this moment because I recall you used to trash Red Zone to begin with.
I said it was never really. I said
you don't like Red Zone. You're not even a real Red Zone watcher.
But if I'm
You're not
watching
even
it,
a real one. No,
I don't want commercials.
You aren't even a real Red Zone viewer.
I was watching it on Sunday.
Years and years I've been watching it, and for years you've been dismissing it, saying it's too much going on, and there's too many games to track, and your mind couldn't handle it, is what you said at one point in time.
I said it hurts my brain sometimes.
Yeah.
But only worse if I got to listen to an Applebee's commercial in the middle of it. They promised me 7 hours commercial free.
7 hours of commercial-free football start now.
Not 7 hours of commercial-free football. There were commercials.
There were 4 commercials. So, okay, we're talking about 2 minutes. Wow, I could still see the game. I'll live. I'll be okay.
You're accepting this?
Yes.
You're just accepting of commercials? He said, that's the tagline of the show.
Well, he needs to change the tagline, maybe.
7 hours of commercial-free football starts now. It's not true. It's no longer true. It is a factually inaccurate statement, and I guess that was part of its appeal. Like you say, you're a true Red Zoner. The point of Red Zone is that you can sit your ass on the couch starting at noon on a Sunday, and you know all you're going to get is football game, Red Zone, football game, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. And now it's touchdown, field goal. Applebee's, come get some ribs.
But I still have the game. I could still see the game for 30 seconds.
Can't hear it.
I could still see the game. I'm good. It's not like, do I prefer not having it? Sure, but I know Barstool put out a whole article and went nuts about it as well. Theirs was more satire-ish as well. But,
somebody says you already know a lawyer who can handle this. Perfect football puns right in their back pocket.
The only way I'll agree with you is if all of a sudden they go full-screen commercials and we actually are missing the games. Then I'm with you. If they go full screen with audio and we miss the games, then I'm with you. Little small box over here with some audio while I can still see Joe Burrow throwing a pick six, then I'm good.
I'm just telling you, if they're already doing the half screen, they're pretty close to stuffing a 30-minute commercial down your face.
Or they go to a bigger box, that's the commercial, and they go to the smaller box,
again,
that's the...
If this were just a regular channel, let's just say like NBC ran a Red Zone channel, and this was just like under normal thing, and I could get it on the rabbit ears, I respect the commercials. When I pay YouTube TV additional money for Red Zone for a service that they advertise as being commercial-free for 7 hours and then do not provide me a commercial-free experience. So, like, for instance, I pay for premium Spotify, right? Because I don't want commercials while I'm listening to the music. If all of a sudden they were like, hey, but just sometimes we're going to give you commercial, like, no, that's not the deal we agreed to. I gave you money for Spotify Premium, so I do not have to consume those commercials. Same with Hulu or Netflix or any of the other services. You pay for a commercial-free experience. I don't care if they're just trying to sneak it in on the slide. Like, look, there's still kind of football on. Oopsie, whoopsie, commercial. No.
So you think
you're already doing that enough. This is supposed to be commercial-free. They've ruined an entity that once was pure.
So you think Red Zone could have like
it's ruined?
pay
You think it's ruined?
So you think Red Zone could eventually have a 2 option where, hey, we're going to have some ads in there,
maybe that does happen, yeah.
Somebody pointed out, because of all the Applebee's bankruptcy stuff, there's only one. Do you know there's only one Applebee's open in the entire city?
Yeah.
It's not kidding. 3 minutes from my house.
You ever go?
It's super. No, I haven't been there since high school.
The actual description of NFL Red Zone on their thing to buy it, Scott Hansen kicks off your Sunday with 7 hours of live football featuring up to 8 games at once with the Octobox.
How much you want to say?
It doesn't say commercial. It doesn't say commercial. He needs to stop saying it.
Apparently,
but it doesn't say it. It doesn't say it on their actual like spiel for the station.
Well, someone said coming soon, Red Zone Plus. That's actually commercial free.
Apparently, he introed the show though on Sunday not saying commercial free, and then moments later said commercial free.
He knew he was going to get eaten alive, and then he got back into his old habits of like, what are the things I say on Red Zone? And what I tell the people is that it is commercial-free football.
Why are people mad at Scott Hansen? Why are they mad at him?
They're calling him a liar and everything.
They're mad at him.
He's the figurehead of this dishonesty. That's all. It's not. Is it his fault? Do I think Scott Hansen was the guy that said, let's get in some commercials? He's going to get a pay raise because there's a commercial? No, but he's the figurehead of the crime.
So Scott Hansen tweeted out, thanks for watching NFL Red Zone Week 15. Favorite part of the show today? And you can imagine what his replies were like. Someone said, the 2 commercials you snuck in on us. Someone else says that Verizon commercial that ran for almost 30 seconds. It was, by the way, I actually think it was 2 commercials. So you're right. It's actually, it's actually 6 hours and 59 minutes of commercial-free football. He should actually be a smart ass and say that.
That would be funny.
Oh, it'd be great. On Sunday, when he does, he should be 6 hours and 59 minutes of commercial-free football starts now.
Or start the broadcast a minute early, and then you can say 7
I hope
hours
he does.
of
I hope he does that. It'd be great. You'd have to laugh if he does that.
Some of it is like my fear of exactly what they're talking about. If I don't think Red Zone Plus is coming, I'm a fool. Then you really can get back to your commercial. Because like, which ones do you pay? Do you pay for the commercial free on any service?
No.
Do you pay? So you watch commercials on Netflix?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not paying extra.
Oh, I pay the extra.
Same. And Hulu too.
Oh, really?
And Spotify.
I'm not paying extra.
It is a buzzkill when you're watching a movie and it's at the climax. All of a sudden, 2 minutes of ads.
In the middle of watching,
I couldn't do it.
In the middle
I was watching episode 2 of the 3-part Aaron Rodgers Netflix doc. I was watching that last night, and there are ads will play in the middle of it. It's fun.
Are there targeted ads towards what the documentary is about?
I didn't pay attention.
Okay. They're trying to offer you,
I looked at my phone once the commercial. It said I had 75 seconds of 5 ads, and I quickly went on my phone for 75 seconds.
I like the commercial-free experience. Maybe that's what it is. You're less bothered by the commercials, just in general.
Let's get to a quick trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
That could have been trash of the day.
It could have been.
Scott Hansen lying to me.
It could have been. So, this one takes us to Lawrence, a restaurant that I'm somewhat familiar with because it opened while I was in college, and it was something that we would have when it'd be like 2 a.m. and you need something delivered to the dorm rooms, right? You got back from going out, and everybody wanted, it was either Jimmy John's Pizza Shuttle or a place called Triaki. Triaki still exists in Lawrence. This is a story from Fox 4 News about what people saw at that place.
Greg and Jennifer Watkins were driving by Triaki Saturday when they noticed a peculiar sight right outside the back door of the Lawrence Chinese restaurant that's been in business for 20 years.
And my wife, she was like, what is he doing? And I looked, behind me, I'm like, he's chopping meat.
They started recording as he threw what it appeared to be chopped up pieces of meat from the drive-through pavement into a container.
Look at this.
It was gut-wrenching. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. There was no cutting board or nothing to chop on. He was just cutting on concrete.
Social media users shared the video thousands of times and got the attention of the Kansas Department of Agriculture. The owner explained to inspectors the same thing he told us. The meat was raw pork, nothing they serve on the menu.
People now just worry about we serving the pork cut from the ground.
Lou also said the employee was breaking the meat up for personal use.
They use the hammer to break it, and then today's a day off. They take it home to make a soup.
I mean, it's not clean. It's not good to be chopping meat, whether it's for personal consumption or they're going to do it to the public. They're still preparing it in that kitchen.
Triaki took to social media to explain the meat is cooked at the end of the night in a separate bowl than the ones used for customers' food. Health inspectors say they provided extensive education on unapproved foods and sources, and due to the complaint, the restaurant cleaned and sanitized all knives during the inspection, as well as the area around that door.
I did ask, and owners say that employee is keeping his job here. However, they say they've made it very clear that him cutting his meat for personal use at home right outside the restaurant here is not acceptable.
That's a story from Fox 4.
Butchers pork at their job on a sidewalk to eat later.
I mean, thank goodness it's not the actual food that the customer is eating, but yeah,
does that matter?
The video is a hammer.
You think he brought his knife from home?
He's got a hammer, and he's just hammering out this pork on the pavement, like on the drive-through lane.
Like a sidewalk, man. Just on a sidewalk. And by the way, I'm supposed to just blindly believe that there's an employee who will butcher an entire pig on a sidewalk outside for home consumption. But he's definitely using the bowls that they don't use for the customer's food. I'm sure. He brings in his own bowls for that.
It's the same thing that Nick said.
Like, that's crazy.
Someone says on the text line, someone says much to do about nothing. I don't know how you can say much to do about nothing.
Would you eat at any place in which you saw them cutting up pork on a sidewalk outside of it?
I mean, I did eat at that place back in college. So
would you go back to Triaki now?
No.
That's it? You're done?
I'm done.
Did it ever give you food poisoning? Because I can't say I would have been shocked if it did.
Cody, we were eating this. It was something people bought as like drunk food. You'd get it delivered. Triaki was a very popular thing in college. You get it delivered at 2 o'clock in the morning. It opened basically 24/7.
Nick was telling me the same story. He has had it multiple times, and
he went to Lawrence.
It was a good drunk food
he said
item.
It's a place that you only get after. It's good after 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'm not going there on a Friday night at 7 o'clock and bringing dinner home for the family.
In fairness, if it's the kind of place that you're more likely to go to at 2 a.m. than 3 p.m., you've probably accepted that they were cutting pork on the sidewalk this whole time.
I mean, just the video.
Maybe you knew what you were getting.
Now,
you know?
these people took video of. If you were driving and you saw someone cutting meat on the pavement at a restaurant, would you take video and send it out?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
I've seen some things you shouldn't have done in restaurants, but not that.
That is the trash of the day. Up next, we get right back to the Chiefs and the Chiefs Red Half Hour. One question that we still haven't got a clear answer on about how they brought a player back from injury this past weekend. We'll also get right back into what we can rely on to improve with the Chiefs.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both host for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off I-70 in Little Blue Parkway in Independence, Friday, December 20th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Make your first NBA bet a swish with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from who will win the game to how many points a player will score. Plus, check out newer bets like the number of dunks, assists, or three-pointers in the next 3 minutes. It doesn't matter if you tap into FanDuel before the game or after it's already tipped off, you can pick up a W whenever. And now's the perfect time to get in on the action. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob for your chance to score $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help's your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey, it's Alex Gold from Max Motors in Belton with their huge year-end heavy-duty sale. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. New 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee, up to $13,000 off MSRP. Stock number S240367. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 1/2/25. And if you're looking for the max trade-in values in the Midwest, it's Max Motors, just a short drive to Belton. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
At Jefferson's, our favorite day is game day, especially on Kansas City game day. We know our guys in red like to play down to the wire, and we're here for every second of it. Our ice-cold beers pair perfectly with a blocked field goal. Our double-dip wings taste even crispier when KC makes yet another game-changing play. It just tastes better when you're watching at a bar that's owned and operated locally. Join us on game day and every day at Jefferson's, 87th Street and Lackman in Lenexa and North Kansas City on Armour Road. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters.
Do you hear that? These are the sounds of our jeweler's workshop at Shane Company, where they're working their magic to bring beautiful, fine jewelry gifts to life. At Shane Company, we love jewelry as much as you do, and we know what it takes to create something special. No matter your budget, we craft our jewelry with expert care to be passed down for generations. With jewelry craftsmen in every store and an unmatched free lifetime warranty, we're here to make sure your jewelry always shines bright. Stop by and shop online at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates, all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Old Spice Swagger Holiday Pack, perfect for a gift to treat yourself.
24/7 holiday freshness with daily use can smell your bestest. I'm gonna be smelling great all season. Old Spice scents just can't be beaten. Chock full of value, saving that green. Got the essentials needed to feel clean. Deodorant, hair, body wash, and spray. Celebrate your holiday the Old Spice way. Ho 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 ho.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates, all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
This report is brought to you by WaysideWaifs.org. Save a life this holiday season. Wayside Waifs has rescued pets from puppy mills, hoarding situations, and found them abandoned on the streets. Give these homeless animals a second chance. Make miracles happen. Donate today, and your gift will be matched. Visit WaysideWaifs.org.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We also trying to scarf down some food during the break. You guys know Jefferson's on Wednesdays is our official lunch partner of 96.5 The Fan. You can catch every game at Jefferson's, from blocked field goals, incredible catches, or during the baseball season, you know, we had some watch parties out there. You can witness every moment at a restaurant that's proudly local. Visit Jefferson's, Lenexa, or North Kansas City. Jefferson's wings, burgers, oysters. Trying to scarf down just a couple wings during the break real quick, and the corn nuggets.
Did you eat a corn nugget?
Of course. I specifically was like, did we get the corn nuggets? Absolutely.
I had a pretzel bite.
I'll save some of the corn nuggets. They're not just for me. I say it's corn nuggets we can share. We got some pretzel bites. I don't know. I went in lemon pepper.
Classic.
I did go boneless. I know some of you will freak out, but look, we're on the radio. We're trying to still touch, like, we have to touch the keyboard and stuff. It's not gonna work. So
I need to be able to knife and fork this one.
I went boneless, and lemon pepper is a little less messy too. So no, I had a couple of the wings during the break.
So you went lemon pepper.
Mm-hmm.
I went mango habanero.
Okay.
I considered honey sriracha. I like a little bit of the sweet and spicy, as you can probably tell.
Okay.
What, do you get something against sriracha?
No, I was surprised that was the order. Okay, honey sriracha or mango habanero is where you ended up with. Drew, what did you get over there?
Classic honey barbecue.
Okay. You're in the process of eating. My bad.
I was, yes.
You know what? Our old producer was really guilty of that. So, in fairness, your reputation on that has been pretty sterling. So to have one bite of food during a lunch hour,
I try not to have anything.
Someone says, "Can you please explain a corn nugget?" So it's fried, obviously, and then inside it's like hot
cornbread, essentially.
Yeah, but like it's actual corn inside. Yeah. It's not dry or anything. Yeah. That's how, I don't know.
Can you show one to the camera?
Yeah.
Can you break one in half for the camera so that people can see?
Let me do this.
Show them it full. This is what a corn nugget looks like.
Yeah.
And then show them the inside. Those for the people who want to see in the video stream.
Yeah.
You can go back and see what it looks like. There you go. See? Ooh. That is a corn nugget.
And they're really, really good.
You've now seen it on video, so you got a good sense of it. Problem solved. This is the Chiefs Red Half Hour, not Cody and Gold Eat Wings Half Hour, although tempting, admittedly tempting. I was surprised Andy Reid didn't get asked about it again yesterday. It didn't seem like it came up as much in postgame. And I'm a little confused because why on earth, for a team that I have seen do nothing but protect injuries slowly for the most part, 99.99999% of the time, they slow walk injuries before putting a guy in the field. Did they have Harrison Butker kick on Sunday? What the hell were they thinking? So first off, let's just say you thought he was fine. Not fine enough to do kickoffs, which he was, and I think this is important to note, doing before.
He was.
That was his job. He was doing it. The safety was not doing kickoffs. The kicker was doing kickoffs. He then looked uncomfortable on at least 2 kicks. I think 3 where one looked kind of funny, but nobody paid as close attention to it. So he looked funny on 3 kicks, couldn't even do kickoffs. Why were they rushing Harrison Butker back? If they wanted him to get reps at kicking the ball, can he not just do that at practice? Like his practice when it was open, he could be available to you. Why did they rush him back when Matthew Wright wasn't missing? If kicking was failing them, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking was not failing them, it was going okay.
So initial reaction, 100% with you. Like it was bizarre. It's not just like it magnified because they missed a kick. So let's be real. That's a big reason why it's being discussed more. Was the missed kick because of Butker? Was it because of the whole operation and timing being off? I tend to believe it was the whole operation timing being off more than anything else. But
he was yelling at his long snapper.
When I saw Lawrence Tynes, former Chiefs kicker, obviously won a Super Bowl or two in the NFL as well, tweeting that what Butker's doing is not sustainable. He goes back to the knee drop or whatever, which was what we thought. He was doing that before surgery. We thought the surgery was going to fix that, essentially. Maybe he doesn't have confidence in it. I'm with you on the kickoff part. I do think the Chiefs though, and I won't be surprised if they continue in the playoffs, Cody. I think they like having the extra defender, basically. The ability for Justin Reid to have an extra guy that can go and make kickoffs.
Yes, but they chose the opposite of that the entire season.
I know. What I'm telling you is I would not be surprised if that's what happens the rest of the season, though. That might be one of their shifts and adjustment. As far as rushing him back, if they did or did they not, and can he kick from 55 yards? Dave Tobe, last week before the game, like on Wednesday, acknowledged that he was not 100%. Said he was still 2 to 3 weeks away, and then he was activated. That part I'll give you. That's what's a little weird. Dave Tobe said he was 2 to 3 weeks away, and then he ended up being activated 4 days later. So what changed there? And he wasn't eating up a roster spot because he was on IR, as you pointed out. So it is a little bizarre why that was the case. I don't think the kickoffs. I don't think the kickoffs necessarily are my problem.
You're saying they might just be making the permanent switch to Justin Reid being the kickoff specialist.
It's just that I understand you want to get Butker back in a rhythm. I think that's all valid. And you want multiple weeks to do it. And they clearly think he needs a month to do it.
That's the thing you can really simulate. We talk about this I've seen with the deep ball stuff of the Chiefs. That's a really hard thing to simulate in a practice environment. You can't match the speed. You can't match the intensity. You can't match the timing the same way. It's not all the same. It's a hard thing to simulate, deep passing in a practice setting. Kicks are maybe the easiest thing to simulate in a practice setting. Everyone lines up. There's a half an inch. Everybody can move one way or the other. It is what it is. It's snap, hold, kick. That's your job as a kicker. There's no other mystery outside of that. And he looks so uncomfortable. I don't even think his leg's still right. He had mid-season surgery as a kicker, and you thought, what if we rush him back? All of a sudden, which is funny because we talked about before when he got hurt. Oh, man, they're going to lose a game, and it's going to be on a last-second kick that some dude screws up. Schrader at the time, now Matthew Wright. And now I'm worried it's going to go the other way, is that it never cost him a game under Schrader and Wright, and because they've rushed Harrison Butker back, they're going to miss a kick because he's not right. And they rushed him back to service before he was ready. I also think his range is down. And look, the other two guys' range wasn't good either, but it's I just don't think they're going to use him the way they normally use him. And in that case, why not just wait a couple of weeks? He's more than enough experienced. I don't know why you would have to rush this thing.
I don't think, though, they activate him if they think he suddenly just can't make kicks. I mean, that would be kind of crazy. They're not. They're still in vital football games right now for the number one seed. So I don't think it's something where they feel like, hey, we know we're putting him out there and he just can't make kicks for us. No, I think is the range 58 yards right now for Butker? Probably not. And they're saying, well, we're willing to deal with that. We think he can make a 45-yarder or a 50, maybe not a 58-yarder, but we're going to ramp him up, and he needs to get back in a flow so he's good to go come playoff time. I think that's a fair argument that they would probably make, and it is probably true. I just am talking about more the knee planting thing, which we're not kicking experts by any means, but I saw Tynes' tweet on it. It's something that was noticeable before the injury that required surgery, and it's still doing it. So is it still not is he not confident in the knee holding up, or is that just a sign that's still not fully healed? I'm not sure. Maybe Dave Tobe will talk today or tomorrow, and we'll find out more.
Should talk today.
The kickoff thing honestly doesn't bug me as much as it does you. I just think the kickoffs, they're maybe going to say that's an advantage that they can have. Justin Reid kicked off when Matthew Wright was kicking as well. I think they like having an additional tackle, a guy that can go make a tackle if there's a team they're going up against that has a pretty good return scheme.
They mentioned that in preseason. So they mentioned that in training camp. This is not a new concept to them. It is something that they had explored somewhere along the way, and it certainly brought up the possibility of doing it. So I'm not completely ruling it out. It just seems weird that for 95% of the season, Butker kicked off. For the 3, 4, 5 games he missed, all but one game, they did switch to Justin Reid at some point. Because, I don't know, maybe they just didn't have trust in that kicker. It was the
Let's also remember
kicker that they had signed.
Let's also remember Justin Reid was hurt during training camp.
Yeah.
With a quad injury.
Yeah.
So
he was never going to kick in the early portion because
I
of
don't
that
know.
too.
I don't know the exact. I'm just trying to think about why you're asking, like, why did it not happen earlier? Maybe that's part of it.
But it's also hard for me to imagine that it wasn't a factor in the kickoffs in this one when he was doing it and then he came back and he didn't look right. If he looked right in every other scenario, I would just be with you. They've made a switch. I think Justin Reid is the kickoff guy now.
I was surprised, but I also think so. Is this a lot of just the flat out result of the missed kick? If they don't miss the field goal, does anybody give a damn?
Maybe not. But like I will say, my confidence, because the text line asked, and I think that's fair. I think it was the 816. It's like right now, if Harrison Butker had to kick a 50-yarder to win it tomorrow or Saturday, what's your confidence he would do it?
I'd rather have him still than Matthew Wright. I still would. I got what is it now? 8 years of evidence.
Time. I'm just saying
one
kick.
It has to fit. Yeah, but it has to factor in. Like Matthew Wright did a great job filling in. But if you're asking me, it's AFC title game, 50-yard field goal to send him to the Super Bowl. Matthew Wright or Butker right this second. I'm still
AFC title game's a little different because he's got a lot more time to be healthy. I'm saying Saturday.
No, okay. So I use that as an example as magnitude of game. Let's assume the AFC title game was this Saturday then. Okay. I was just using it as like a not actual timeline. Let's say the stakes are that. I will still choose Harrison Butker over any other kicker in football, frankly, to make a 50-yarder on an AFC title game if that was this weekend. Absolutely. Absolutely.
If it were this weekend, I might choose Wright. And again, I know you're saying it's based off, but it's not. It was based off a lot of kicking issues in that one. Look, maybe that's why I'm back. All of the, people were running out. He's yelling at his long snap. He's like, what,
I should have called a timeout.
Everything felt disjointed and wacky. And Andy, should have called a timeout, which you had said on Monday, and I think we all agreed with. I'm not disagreeing with that sentiment, but it just feels like you and I have talked about, we've made an open joke on this show of if you think they're coming back on Saturday, wrong. Try the week after that, or maybe even the week after that. The one exception to that has always been Patrick Mahomes, who they have never had any trouble putting in after an injury, and quarterback is a little bit different, as we well know. This is a team that has always been about taking their time with injuries. And all of a sudden, Matthew Wright, who had been making every kick, so I'm not really sure what the problem was, had to get out of here. Got to go. We got to get his ass out fast. We got to rush Harrison Butker, and it just didn't seem necessary.
I was surprised he was activated. I mean, because 2 days before or whatever it was, Dave Tope said he was still 2 or 3 weeks away. So I'm with you that I'm surprised. I'm just saying, in a big time moment, he still would be the kicker that I would choose. I think a lot of the reaction is the fact that the kick was missed, and so that a lot of people wouldn't care. Sometimes the result doesn't mean the decision was wrong. The process was definitely screwed up in this case because of the operation of Winchester and Ariza get on the field late.
I guess a lot of this is important because of the way I view the Chiefs, which is I don't know if I view them as more or less imperfect than last year. I think I kind of view them as the same amount of as imperfect as last year. Pretending like last year's team didn't have real problems because they won the Super Bowl is so foolish. We know exactly what their problems were. A lot of the same ones on offense. Had no wide receivers, had a limited run game, weren't perfect on tackle at that team either. Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor were not murderers row when it came to ability to play right and left tackle last season, and hell, right tackle was probably a bigger concern. I just think that I need the special teams because I view this team now as win by defense again, which means those things are important.
Great timing as we're talking right now. Dave Tope had a little media scrum availability, and Drew just put it in the system. I haven't heard this either. We're going to both hear this at the same time. This was Dave Tope moments ago when asked about Harrison Butker.
Yeah, it was smart to bring him back. He's healthy. Obviously he's not 100%, but he's pretty close. I mean, he's looked good in practice. He looked good before that game. He looked good in the pregame. On the miss, I'll just talk about the miss. I need to do a better job of communicating to the holder and the snapper, that we were going to kick the field goal. I just assumed that they were together, but they weren't, and that was my fault.
So the operation part is what we suspected, that they were off on the operation and Winchester and Ariza were rushing off onto the field late. That was on the coaching staff. They should have called a timeout. He says,
it was smart to bring him back. He's healthy.
Okay, he hedges his bet pretty quick here. He's obviously not 100%, but, healthy enough. That's the same guy who told me 2 to 3 weeks last week. No offense, he's not a reliable source on this all of a sudden. He said he's 100. He said he's healthy, but he's not really healthy. And 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, it was 2 to 3 weeks, and now he's fine. I just don't think he's right. I agree that he's probably close. But what would have 1 week cost you? Matthew Wright was here. The system was working. He was making kicks. What about a week? I'm not saying a month or the rest of the season.
Cody,
What's a week?
I'm with you. I was surprised he was activated based on the comments a week ago. I guess it sounds like the argument is they want the ramp up here. They believe he's not 100% as in he can get to 100% also by playing. You know, it's a little bit maybe different with this type of injury. I don't know. I mean, they clearly had some mixed messaging last week, though.
I will say the kick stuff, like the leg stuff and all that, figure that out. Figure out how you don't need knee surgery on your knee. We don't need another Justin Tucker repeat situation where you just fall off the planet, which is crazy. Justin Tucker is
I think it's more mental now for Tucker, though, honestly.
Is this going to cost Tucker a Hall of Fame?
No.
Because he was going to be like the one kicker who got in the Hall of Fame there for a while.
I don't know if he's the GOAT
And now he's only made 19 of 27 kicks this year, which is gross.
Butker, since he's been out, he's now maybe a change because he missed the one last week, but while he was on IR, he became the most accurate kicker in the NFL because Pinheiro and Tucker had been missing kicks while they were playing, and Butker was on IR.
Butker was kicking it?
Now, he missed one, so I don't know. I didn't check last week
Probably
to see.
Affects his averages a lot more because he's made less kicks.
Did Pinheiro and Tucker miss kicks last week? I don't know. Someone would have to tell me. I wasn't locked into Pinheiro and Tucker's fantasy stats.
I mean, do the Bears even score points ever?
They played on Monday night against just the other Monday night.
They had like 8 yards at half or something. I'm just asking. They're just not very. They're just a really flawed team right now. This isn't necessarily the Bears red half hour. They're just really, 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 really bad this year. That's all. I don't know what the hell's wrong with them. As of right now, I don't know. Some of these guys aren't qualified. There are a couple of people ahead of them.
Did you see what's happening on Saturday with the Chiefs game against the Texans? Did you guys see this? It hasn't happened all year.
Been a while. I missed it.
Guess who's going to be back in the building? Who's going to be back announcing to the crowd at times penalties, officiating the game? Our good friend Carl Sheffer's first Chiefs game of 2024.
There's no foul in the play for a block in the back. Timeout.
He's back. Carl's back.
Remember, we put it all behind us because of the Super Bowl.
That's right, against the
call
Eagles.
in the Super Bowl, the holding call.
He got it right.
Our beef, I don't have beef with Carl Sheffers anymore. I still think he's a bad ref and is not particularly great at his job, but no beef.
Will fans boo when he's announcing any penalties? Like, other than they disagree with the call. I'm talking about, like, literally the first time he cracks open that mic.
There's no foul in the play for a block in the back. Timeout.
You got to remember how far back this beef goes. As a reminder, if you're like, hey, was it just that one time when we made Carl Sheffers cry at Arrowhead? No, it was not that time. It was also after a Pittsburgh Steelers playoff loss when Travis Kelce buried his ass. That's an all-timer. I see in the back of that video, you see Carrington. We're standing right next to each other. I was like right by cousin. Well, he is mad. He is not happy with this one.
That was back in the early Kelsey days. That he's a more mature Kelsey.
Let it
these
fly
days.
a little. He apologized like a week later. Said he shouldn't have said it that way. Said he shouldn't work at effing Foot Locker. I mean, the Carl Sheffer stuff goes so far back.
But that Raiders game, I mean, all of us will never forget that. I mean, I've never seen a crowd truly impact an official in the way that it clearly did, whether it's the voice cracking or there was a clear shift in how the rest of the game was called from that moment on. He was worried about getting out of that stadium alive, is what it sounded like.
Yeah, he was afraid to get to the hotel, get to the car, get to the rental, whatever.
But he's officiating. They've avoided him all the way until week 16. I don't know if he's in line for
officiating grade this year.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in line to do a playoff game or what, as well. I'm not sure.
I don't need that. I don't need to bring that energy back.
Does he
Mahomes
still
has
wear the
erased
same number?
so much of that stuff.
Say that again, Drew.
Does he still wear the same number?
Oh, 51? Mm-hmm. I mean, I would think so, but I honestly don't know. I'm not sure, man.
Can we get a Carl Sheffers jersey for the garage sale?
That would be kind of cool.
I got to be honest, dude. I think that would actually probably go over pretty well.
How did they avoid him for 16
An autographed
weeks?
Carl Sheffers jersey for the garage sale. If anyone on this planet can make that happen, please. I'm begging.
Chris Jones called for that roughing the passer, man. That was the play.
That is still one of, like, for all the times to be like, oh, gets all the calls. He barely tapped his shoulder. I mean, it could not be a lighter roughing the passer call maybe in the history of the NFL than the one that went against Chris Jones on that play. He grazed his shoulder. It wasn't even like a hard hit. Like, even if he'd hit his head, it wasn't like a real hit. And somehow he did that. Oh, God. Someone said he also called the Kadarius Tony Bills game. Oh, my God.
I mean, it was. I know some of you disagree. Tony was offsides.
In fairness,
he was offsides, and it was a
got that call right.
Dumb decision.
You know my stance. I'd like to implement, if they let me implement one rule in the NFL, it was that we reverse penalties on things that are cool. That Miami Dolphins, that Miami Dolphins offensive lineman who stiff armed 17 people and backflipped into the end zone. Essentially, that should have been a touchdown. It was cool. I think cool plays should get to stand. Drew hates this idea.
So do I.
You do,
well, yeah, because if a guy
that was a cool play. He roughed the passer and knocked him out. That was a cool play.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's run was really cool until he dropped the ball.
That was just a regular play. I mean, especially cool, right? Like different. Like, wow, I can't believe we just watched that. Cool. Yeah. I think if something like especially cool happens, like Travis Kelce laterals 20 yards across the field, we got to just let that stand.
It was a one-hand catch. He totally threw the defender to the ground first, but it was a one-hand catch.
The guy only got 1 foot in bounds, but hey, you know what? He caught it one hand. DeAndre Hopkins found a way to catch it.
Maybe on the catches, but at least on some of those other ones, you know?
All right, up next, we'll get to what's trending here on Cody and Gold, and we're going to get right back into the last time this happened. Maybe Andy Reid adjusted. We'll see if we think that's coming up or this Saturday. And in the noon hour, we're going to have JJ Picollo, Royals general manager, going to join us. We've got a lot to get into with JJ about this Royals offseason. That's coming up next.
Cody and Gold.
And sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
Thanks, Bob. We're here with Doug the Elf, asking about the hottest holiday gifts of the year. Doug, what's on your list?
Yeah, we're getting Missouri lottery scratchers and draw games. We came all the way from the North Pole.
They don't have lottery tickets there?
Now, Missouri lottery tickets, they created a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year. Woohoo! I just won!
But I thought that was a gift.
Well, yeah, for me.
You heard it here first. Scratchers and draw games from the Missouri Lottery make great gifts for the holidays. Play it forward and play responsibly. Back to you in the studio.
Are you in need of top quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Cronius Professional Welding Equipment, service and repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare and you want out, you need to get the facts. Wesley Financial Group and its founder, Chuck McDowell, have helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshares permanently, and he may be able to help you too. Call right now. Chuck will send you a timeshare exit information guide free explaining how your timeshare works and all your options for cancellation. You want to call Wesley Financial Group, 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Once again, 800-761-0000.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and that means limited time savings on the paint pros need. Right now, save $15 on 5-gallon pails of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams All-Purpose Power Primer. Plus, get it delivered to your job site with free same-day delivery when you order by 2 p.m. Visit us in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 12/20. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowes.com/same-day delivery for details.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
This Friday only in Old Navy stores. Long sleeve tees are just $5 for adults and $4 for kids. Yep, long sleeve tees are $5 for adults, $4 for kids. But hurry, this deal is one day only this Friday at Old Navy stores. Valid 12/20 in stores and select styles only.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning diamond pendant, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer. Or maybe you're looking for that perfect gemstone piece or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
The election is finally over. Now you can get the cash you need. Imagine what you could do with $50,000. Pay off credit cards, do home improvements, or even pay off auto loans. Golden Oak's mortgage rate is 5.25%. There's no out-of-pocket costs, so call today and make no payments until next year. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Get up to $5,000 off the 24 Jetta, 24 Taos, and 24 Tiguan, and up to $8,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. Hurry in before we sell out of 24s. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
It's better over here.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City. Proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's trending here on Cody and Gold is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Applied today at bakeru.edu. A little update on practice today for the Chiefs for the second straight day. No Chamari Connor. He's dealing with that concussion. He's not going to practice. Also, DJ Humphries. So I think it's fair to say on a Wednesday already that DJ Humphries not playing on Saturday, and nobody expected Chamari with a obviously dangerous play and hit with him being in concussion protocol. Patrick Mahomes will once again practice. We'll see if he's a full participant as he was yesterday, but it looks like they're going to have to go Joe Thuney on Saturday once again.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're doing that, I don't know if you don't just go with him on a Wednesday. The injury thing's the same. What, 3 days later he's fine?
Yeah,
you get another 10 days. You buy 10 days by waiting one additional game. Feels like it might be worth it, especially for an injury, a chance for Rio.
I think they have to find out, though, if DJ Humphries can put together back-to-back games.
That's fair.
So in a way, like he's not going to play Saturday. I need him to play Wednesday. And then I want to see his body recover after 10 days and get ready for the Broncos and play.
Because if not, then Tooney's got to be getting all these left tackle reps so we know that he's good for the playoffs. Next up on What's Trending, Kansas State lost to Drake last night at T-Mobile Center, 73-70.
Overtime.
Tight game. Overtime. Ben McCollum, the former Northwest Missouri State head coach, is now the coach over at Drake. He had said that Kansas City continues to be underutilized, in his opinion, in the recruiting. He pretty much, as you told me, brought his entire Northwest Missouri State team over. He's having a lot of success at Drake.
Yeah, brought numerous guys over, a lot of experience. They know the terminology. They're familiar with each other. It's why a lot of times you see, especially early on, we'll see what February means for Drake in the Missouri Valley, but early on in the year, teams that have a ton of experience, sometimes they get out of the gate quick because they're used to playing.
Especially
so
with the transfer portal and all these other teams are really trying to figure that out, as in they don't already know the system. Also, UMKC did beat Wichita State last night on the road. Big win for the Roos.
It was.
Rough start for the Roos this year in some road non-con play. That was a big win for the Roos. Wichita State was heavily favored in that matchup. That was an 8-2 team going into the game. For the Roos, man. Big win.
Roos were 14-point dogs. They get the outright win. It was a bye game. They got paid to go out to the Roundhouse and Coke Arena there in Wichita, and they come away with a 10-point win. The Roos are 7-7. 7-7 now. The Shockers fall to 8-3. Next up on What's Trending, we've been talking about throughout the show today, Michael Penix is going to get the start for the Falcons against the Giants and the rest of the way. The Michael Penix era is underway as Kirk Cousins has been benched due to performance. Coaching staff watching that game on Monday night, I don't know how you can think that you can continue to win games with Kirk Cousins. That was a game in which he completed 11 passes. They found a way to win against a bad Raiders team. This gives them a chance. They're a game out of a divisional title, right? They're a game back of the Bucs. Both the Bucs and Falcons feel like they need to win out because, again, the Falcons have the tiebreaker even though they're a game back. So the Bucs cannot tie. So as much as we talk about like the Bucs can win the division, if the Falcons win out, the Bucs also need to win out.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's going to create an interesting scenario, certainly, but Kirk Cousins, you almost can't play worse. So, like, I don't know in a situation where that's going to drive you off it. I mean, it just kind of makes sense that way. Next up on What's Trending, Adam Silver tells the media that he's monitoring what is happening again with three-pointers in the NBA. The Boston Celtics are on pace to set a record of three-pointers made and shot in a season by, like, a mile. I mean, they're just almost exclusively shooting three-pointers, as in the paint doesn't even exist. And it hasn't stopped them from winning a lot of games here early on. The NBA's got a problem where it has become free swinging from the three-point line because the math suggests, and is correct, that it's more valuable based on the number they're shooting. The simple solution is obvious. Scoot it back.
Yep.
Scoot the three-point line back and see what kind of impact that has.
The corner three.
Yeah, it's not hard to figure out what to try before you get to the next thing. It's just move the line back.
Yeah, unless it's a high-stakes playoff game or I guess the NBA Cup final last night, the games are tough to watch. They just are. They're tough to watch.
Not a lot of basketball, just shooting.
That game last night was tough to watch, too.
Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee wins the NBA Cup over the Thunder. I think the moving it back is the simplest. There's some other more aggressive changes that people have thrown out. These aren't my ideas. These are just discussions that have been out there already. The one other solution from some is don't move the three-point back. Make a dunk worth more points. You're like, why does that matter? Well, it would encourage you to drive the paint.
You're going to try to get to the rim?
So all of a sudden, a dunk. Not a basket in the paint. A dunk is all of a sudden worth 3 points.
Some people can't dunk, though.
Some of you are like, that's crazy.
Fun-ass alley-oops, man.
I don't know if I like that idea, but all options should be on the table. Moving it back seems like the obvious one. But that one was interesting. Like, could you imagine if all of a sudden, like, actual dunks are 3 points? You just dunk. You don't have to dunk on someone, but dunks are 3 points.
If you dunk on somebody, they should make it 3 points.
That's actually 10. If it's on his head, if we all agree it's a 10 out of 10 on his head, then
Anthony Edwards would be getting all of them.
Be king of the league.
Him and John, man.
Moving the line back works to a certain extent, but someone points out, like, well, wouldn't there just be more misses?
But that's supposed to encourage you to get closer.
You would not take them if you're not making.
The math would say you shouldn't.
If all of a sudden the percentage of makes for those threes goes down to, I don't know what the current percentage is. Let's say it went down to 30% or something. Well, you're not going to keep shooting it if you're only making them 30% of the time. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah, someone was saying, what do you do about if you move the line back? What do you do about corners? Well, you would
get rid of them.
You would basically get rid of
Squeeze
them.
them. Yeah. You could even take the three-point line out of bounds before you get all the way to the corner if you want. Space the floor differently. But they're going to have to do something. They don't have to do it yet, but it's like similar to baseball. It's like you get to a point where it's so disadvantageous. Baseball's trying to figure out. Baseball's still trying to figure out how to get the ball in play.
Yeah, the game evolves. You have to adapt with rules. So, lastly, real quick on what's trending. The Ivy League says they're going to join the FCS playoff. for college football starting next year. The past the Ivy League regular season, and then it was over. That's it. Now they'll have a chance to play in the postseason.
Those Yale
down
and
a level.
Harvard teams, yeah, good for them.
Last thing on the basketball thing. Someone says, how about, and that's what's trending, how about just guarding the shooter? Well, this is like one of those things that, like, if you haven't been in an NBA shoot-around or something on the floor, it's just kind of hard to fathom. I cannot begin to describe to you, even the guy you think can't shoot, I cannot even begin to describe to you what the level of shooting is in the NBA. Guarding them has nothing to do with it. It's nuts. Yeah, like if you think that scene from Pleasantville is a joke, it's not. They just make.
Yeah, they're that good.
All of them.
It's not the
every shot.
Frankly, like the lazy take of they don't play defense in the NBA. Like it's not. Wake yourself up from 2009. Like this is not
as high end, but yes.
Yeah, I mean it's not that. That's just like a lazy for people that don't like the NBA take is what it is. I'm not saying that texture is, but like when I hear that, that's what I think of because it's something that people would use for the last 15 years. And in the All-Star game, yeah, they're not playing defense.
Yeah.
If that's the only NBA you watch, then you're right. They don't play defense. The All-Star game's a joke.
And the score's like 200 to 150.
But to act like it's just because they don't play defense. No, these guys are making contested shots. Watch Damian Lillard every single night when he plays. Every three of his is contested, and he makes them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, every shot is over like the fingertips of a different player. It's just
there's guys who are literally sharpshooters who just enter the game to shoot threes.
It's crazy, man.
Make it. I saw
the rate in which they can score and the ability to score.
I saw this too real quick regarding K-State and Drake. So Kansas State paid Coleman Hawkins $2 million. He's making more money than Drake's coaches.
That's wild. NIL era. Everybody thought they overpaid to begin with, though, for the transfer. Like,
certainly seems like it even more so now.
Well, in fairness, they're going to have to, this is the part of the college basketball that people are going to start to feel more like pros. The reality is you are, because of the way you're paid. That number is going to start getting thrown in your face. Like, before, you'd just be like, well, you should play better. Now it's going to be like, we're paying you $3 million. Really, what are you doing here? Like, that number is going to get thrown in your face. People are going to be more critical of your play, even more so than before now that you're being paid. Although college fandom's always been kind of that way.
All right, coming up in 20 minutes, we'll talk some baseball with the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo. If you want to know what the plan might be the rest of this winter for the Royals, you want to listen to our conversation with JJ Picollo. I know a lot of Royals fans were on Twitter yesterday, and we got some text messages. Hey, make sure you ask him about this or whatever. We'll try to work in some of those questions. A lot of stuff we were already planning on asking. We'll ask him about Cody Bellinger because I know a lot of you thought that was a name that the Royals could maybe be after. We'll find out. Were the Royals involved in any discussions with the Cubs? At least we'll ask him about it, as Cody Bellinger is now a member of the New York Yankees. And we'll also get into some of the stuff that's been floating around baseball, just idea-wise, right? Rob Manfred had some recent comments about contract deferrals can become problematic. I'm curious, the Royals organization view deferrals. Yeah. I know they haven't done them here, but just how do they view that in baseball? So that's coming up in just a bit. But let's get back into the Chiefs and Andy Reid adjusting. And I know there's this thought that some things you're going to go ahead and continue to do. That's who you've been your entire career. And I think there's definite truth to that. Certain clock management, game management stuff. I do think for one game, there's things that can happen that cause you to adjust. Maybe it doesn't mean he fixes it for the rest of his season
at least for
or career.
Saturday.
But for one game, and that is that you didn't have a sharp game calling plays. You didn't have a sharp game handling challenges. You didn't have a sharp game protecting your quarterback. And the fourth down play that quarterback got hurt on, right? Fortunately, Mahomes is not done for the season or anything. There's a very good chance he's playing on Sunday. Does an injury, though, to your quarterback cause you to step back? And at least for one game, say, you know what? I might need to actually be a little more cautious with how I go about my business calling plays, whether that means running the ball more, whether it means how we're talking about getting quick passes out. All of that can help protect your quarterback. And I wonder if saying that and seeing it until there's an injury doesn't mean a whole lot. But when you see your quarterback get hurt, does that cause you, at least for 1 week, to step back, and do you see an adjustment on Saturday?
I think you have to. I don't think that we're going to go into this with the same game plan defensively. And Houston, they're not nearly the defense that the last opponent was on the defensive line. And they're not what Wednesday's opponent is with TJ Watt, or honestly, Denver is in the final week of the season. So this is the lightest defensive line and pass rush you're going to face the rest of the way for the final month of the season. Andy, I'll give him a lot of credit over the course of the years. I just think that this is going to have to teach him the lesson about how much he can pass. And I know that, like you and I said, like he doesn't change from the run. Fine. Do I still think he's going to just stop passing the ball? No. That's crazy, and I don't think it's going to be the case. But yeah, for this Saturday, I think they'll run the ball. Like, not just from a betting end of, like, bet Pacheco overs. I just think that when you look at what the game plan will be, I think Andy knows he has to be more conservative in this one, knowing the left tackle situation. And look, I think some of it is probably the comfort that we all got lulled into in the first half. He probably felt like for a minute, we're good. Look at us, man. We're fine. Tootie's holding up. Things are going great. Offensive line, I thought, played well in the first half. I thought a lot of other things were going wrong on offense, but for the most part, Mahomes was like, he's standing back there a little bit. That Noah great touchdown he had all damn day to stand back there on that one. It's like, okay, seems like it's going okay. And then they just, the heat checked too late. And the fourth quarter, Myles Garrett had taken over the third quarter. And you thought, we could probably get one off. It'll be fine. And you flew too close to the sun. You Icarused, and then you found yourself in trouble with Myles Garrett, which eventually got Patrick Mahomes hurt. I'll point out that the whole QB sneak thing is based on the idea that Andy Reid changed an entire philosophy because he got his quarterback hurt one time. And this one, more than the other ones, where just like pressure happens and sometimes you get hurt, Alex, this was his doing. None of that had to happen. He didn't have to throw in that situation. He didn't have to throw at all. He didn't have to run 6 straight pass plays in the second half when they were leading by 2 or 3 scores. He chose this fate. Like that Patrick Mahomes was eventually going to get hit in that game by Myles Garrett, considering what you had said on Monday, that this is the single most times they had been pressured at the quarterback position in years. I don't remember how many years.
Since 2020.
Okay, yeah. 5 years, 4 years? Sure.
Pressure rate. Yeah, even though the sacks weren't high or anything like that, still the pressure
Is TJ Watt out for 3 games? Am I wrong?
Where were you seeing that?
Text line was saying that. I didn't realize he was out for 3 games. I knew he was hurt, but.
I have not seen that.
No. Okay. I was just asking. Well, Mike Tomlin said he was optimistic about his availability against the Ravens, so I kind of think maybe he's there for Wednesday.
Yeah, that's nowhere out there right now.
Okay. Tomlin yesterday just
coming from.
Text line said
TJ Watt's texting in
from the 913. It said TJ Watt's out for 3 games. According to Mike Tomlin yesterday when he spoke to the media, he was optimistic about the availability of TJ Watt for the Ravens game on Saturday.
There's nothing on social media that would suggest that's accurate at this time.
It's actually the other way. It's suggesting he's probably going to play the game before he plays the Chiefs. So
no, I mean, yeah, suggesting that the 3-game thing is accurate. That's I don't know where that's coming from. But I thought every text we got in was 100% accurate.
You know, sometimes the text line is right sometimes. Actually, that might be the first time ever. That's the first time ever the text line was wrong. Other than that, they've been 100%.
So they're right about
Steelers insider from the 913.
So they're right about what?
So they're right about you fighting Dusty later on at the party?
We do have a holiday party tonight.
Alcohol and beef. You know how that goes sometimes at a party, you know?
That's right. You guys are beefing.
You guys got to sort this out over some cocktails tonight. You guys got to sort this thing out.
He started it.
Are there
I want to make that clear.
He started it.
Are there going to be like games at this party tonight? I was going to say, is there going to be like a pool table or like some cup pong or whatever?
No, let's socialize. Just talk to people.
See, this is Drew. This goes back to the games, non-games family. I actually wouldn't mind some games. The way he's talking about, like, that'd be kind of nice. I kind of like something to do. Can I bring my gambling dreidel?
You
Tell Pingo to bring singles?
You already know that Carrington's going to bring LCR. You know that it's going to happen. So there's going to be one game there.
That's probably fair. Well, you better tell people to bring ones. Or he needs poker chips and Venmo.
Just play cup pong, man.
Either way. But yeah, I think this can teach Andy Reid something about this game. I think he's going to have to learn the rest of the way. Because a lot of stuff, we talked about this too. I think a lot of the way Andy Reid spends a season is not what some people say, which is he's stashing it. He's hiding it. No, I think he's testing. He's poking and prodding. He's trying to figure out what parts of his offense work. And so in the passing game, because it's been broken, honestly, for like the whole season, but at least the last 6 weeks, there's just like problems in the passing game that seem to have been unresolved. And so he continues to pass because he wants to poke and prod and find the solution and look for the answer and see the way in which this offense works via the passing game. And he keeps searching for it and not finding it. And I think on this Saturday, knowing he's got the game on Wednesday, knowing that this is only the second game in a 10-day stretch, I think he actually will be cautious. Maybe we're both wrong. I think he's going to throw like 30 times, not 40.
Yeah, it's definitely. We'll see. If anything, it's a one game thing, a 1-game adjustment. If Carson Wentz was playing, I would feel more likely there would be a clear shift. Mahomes out there, I think it's hard to adjust when even if he's at 80% or whatever. It's hard not to just continue that. They're never going to be a run first team. Nobody's saying that. I just think there's certain situations where you could handle a little bit better. That's it. And whenever we say this, there's always one person that texts in. It's like, oh my gosh, he's going to be the greatest coach of all time, and you guys are criticizing. Yes, that's accurate. He's going to be the greatest coach potentially of all time. It doesn't mean he executes perfectly. And I don't know how you could watch Sunday's game against Cleveland and think that was a well-managed game. Sorry. I know they won, and yes, that's the results are what matter. But it might have got your quarterback hurt as well.
Gold, we finally have our best chance to win the office hide and seek.
I know, I saw.
She says it's in sports and news. That's right behind you.
Mm-hmm. I'm watching.
Send Drew out. He can't win it. He can be our proxy, and if he finds it, you and I get a rock, paper, scissors for who gets the prize.
Just split it.
So you want me to look when you guys were talking to JJ?
$100 gift card. What's that?
When you guys were talking to JJ, you want me to?
Yeah, get on the hunt for us.
I mean, everybody's just staring into our show right now, trying to find the elf, which is not in here, by the way. It's somewhere else.
I don't have it. If you see somebody with it, let me know. I checked my desk drawers today. There was nothing in there.
Nobody else is working, I feel.
We're the only people in the building working?
And there's like 7 people just
I wish
looking.
I don't want to move the camera too much, but otherwise I would just turn it around and show how many people are just walking around out there. It's funny.
Yes.
We can send Drew as our proxy. He says he'll go look.
There's a scavenger hunt going on in the building for those wondering.
And also, Drew's got a nose for it. Let's admit that Drew seems to find the hard
I found
to
one
find
last year,
ones.
found one this year, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because you're trying harder or you're just better at it? Because my effort is pretty low.
I was lucky, I think, this past one. I just happened to be in a hot spot.
Someone will find it before we go to break.
Spags did not talk about him this week when he spoke to me a little bit ago, but he did last Thursday. I know it's bad that the secondary is thinner. They don't need any more injuries there, so being without Shamari Connor this week, and then it kind of feels like probably Wednesday as a result of that very serious concussion he suffered in the last game, doesn't make me feel like good that the secondary is thinner. As I told you last week, I'm excited to see what Hicks does with the opportunity. Finally got like 50% of the playing time, immediately got his hands on the ball. And in fairness, every single member of the defense got their hands on the ball. So he was not exclusive to that department. He certainly was just one of many interceptions that took place in that game. But I still it's like the athleticism part that the Chiefs have never made the shift on that I want to do. Can just pure athleticism and less knowledge be better for your defense than more knowledge and less athleticism? Is always been my argument with the Chiefs, and I'm excited to see Jaden Hicks this weekend. I'm curious to see what he can do on Saturday.
Look, the athleticism, nobody's question. I mean, he popped off the screen in preseason and everything. I mean, it was very, very evident. I think for him, and now he's going to have to play a little bit more, it's still, there's certain situations when you're an inexperienced player, right? You're going to make some mistakes. You'll get turned around. In fairness, we've seen other guys in the secondary have that happen. Brian Cook has gotten turned around that cost them a play, or should have cost him a play if it wasn't for an overthrow from Herbert. Justin Reid got burned on a play a couple weeks ago. That kind of stuff's going to happen. I think there's a chance that this playing time increase is going to end up paying off for them come playoff time. Based off of the athleticism. He's also someone that potentially is their long-term solution, or probably is their long-term solution, at that same spot occupied by Justin Reid. So if he gets some more playoff experience this year and more experience down the stretch of playing time, it's something that definitely could pay off for them long-term. We'll see if it helps them this year. I think it's more of hey, it's gonna really benefit him next season.
Do you worry about the downfall? Because that's really the question. Do you think Hicks is worse than Connor? Are they worse as a secondary now that Hicks is going to have to play more? By the way, Hicks was
just the experience part.
Hicks was already playing more, so somebody else is going to have to play more behind him is the problem.
Just the experience part. They're obviously thinner now in the secondary with Shamari Connor being out for Saturday. I know they haven't ruled him out, but come on now. He's in concussion protocol still.
Somebody said, it sounds like Cody's embracing coverage breakdowns. No, but I'll be honest. That's already been happening. I'm not lately, not the last couple of weeks for the Chiefs defense, but are we here to pretend that wasn't their single biggest problem in the secondary, is that they kept blowing deep coverage? So, maybe Hicks could misread a route and overcome it by running faster. Sometimes that's my argument, is when you screw up, the more athletic player has a chance to fix it just based on pure athleticism. The less athletic player is screwed and it's over. And so I guess that's always the argument, is if both people are screwing up, give me the athlete. And I know that it's screwing up to what degree and the things that come with it. But yeah, that's part of where I'm coming from.
His snaps we looked at the snap count last week. I think it was 3 or 4 straight weeks where the snaps continued to increase for Jaden Hicks.
And went up the most last week, but Connor also, lose the game early.
Yes.
So I kind of changed it too. Good for Hicks for getting a first career interception too. Didn't take him 3 years.
It didn't.
It's crazy.
Stuff is
That's
weird.
how it's
There's
so,
certain
like,
things that are weird in
finicky.
sports where McDuffie doesn't have one in the first 3 years or whatever, until last week. And you watch, he's going to have another pick in the next month. Because stuff like that's so weird. He'll have
two.
He'll have another one in that now. And his first one comes because he's looking at the jumbotron. That's crazy.
And then he'll just get one. Yeah, he'll get one Saturday. It won't even be next month. It'll just
Maybe
be
so.
Saturday, career pick number 2. Took him 2 years and 14 games, and he got one at the end of the game. It was like, wasn't that turnover 6? Like that was the final, or 5? I mean, that was like at the end of all of the turnovers too somehow. Everyone else got one, then he got one. And then, this week they'll have one turnover. It'll be Trent McDuffie.
Coming up next, we're going to talk some Royals baseball with the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo. We'll ask him about potentially Michael Massey learning a new position. How involved, if any, were they in the discussions with the Cubs around Cody Bellinger, plus more after winter meetings coming up next here.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Christmas is just around the corner. And if you're wondering what gifts to give friends and family, no worries. Gates Barbecue is here to help. Gates gift packs and combo packs are tasty gifts for the barbecue lover on your list. And Gates gift cards and logo apparel are perfect stocking stuffers, or if you're exchanging gifts at the office or you have family out of town. Visit their website, gatesbbq.com, and ship right to their front door. Remember, buy Gates. It's a Kansas City tradition.
This Friday only in Old Navy stores. Long sleeve tees are just $5 for adults and $4 for kids. Yep, long sleeve tees are $5 for adults, $4 for kids. But hurry, this deal is one day only this Friday at Old Navy stores. Valid 12/20 in stores and select styles only.
Don't believe me, believe the Better Business Bureau. 5 stars for GiveMeTheVin.com. The rest of them are 1 stars. America's best car buyer, GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's Enhanced Network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Old Spice Swagger Holiday Pack, perfect for a gift to treat yourself. 24/7 holiday freshness with daily use can smell your bestest. I'm gonna be smelling great all season. Old Spice scents just can't be beaten. Chock full of value, saving that green. Got the essentials needed to feel clean. Deodorant, hair, body wash, and spray. Celebrate your holiday the Old Spice way. Ho 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 ho.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
The college football playoff is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. With the new 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever. TNT's coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st, with SMU battling Penn State at noon Eastern. Then, Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Watch the college football playoff, presented by Allstate on TNT and Max.
Old Spice Swagger Holiday Pack, perfect for a gift to treat yourself. 24/7 holiday freshness with daily use can smell your bestest. I'm gonna be smelling great all season. Old Spice scents just can't be beaten. Chock full of value, saving that green. Got the essentials needed to feel clean. Deodorant, hair, body wash, and spray. Celebrate your holiday the Old Spice way. Ho 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 ho.
The Gingerbread Holiday Pop-Up at T-Mobile Center. The Gingerbread is Kansas City's newest and most delicious destination this holiday season. Located at Conica Minolta Founders Club inside T-Mobile Center, the Gingerbread is a magical, one-of-a-kind experience where you can celebrate in style. You'll love it. Visit t-mobilecenter.com for more.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold. Hope everybody's having a good start to their Wednesday. Lunch hour, you guys know, is sponsored by our friends over at Jefferson's here on 96.5 The Fan. Catch every game at Jefferson's, from the blocked field goals to the incredible catches. Witnessed every moment at a restaurant that's proudly local. Visit Jefferson's in Lenexa or in North Kansas City. Jefferson's wings, burgers, and oysters. Been eating some wings during the break. I think we've been trying to scarf some down. The corn nuggets, there's still some left, man, if you want.
I'll get one in a minute.
The corn
Sure.
nuggets at Jefferson's, man. It's one of my favorite things to order there.
Yeah. Every time you go there, you get them.
That's right, with the honey barbecue or the lemon pepper wings. But thanks to our friends over at Jefferson's. Let's talk some Royals baseball, though. It's been a little while since we had the general manager of the club on the show. Of course, JJ Picollo joined us throughout the baseball season. He joins us now on the 610, I should say 96.5 The Fan hotline out of habit. And, you know, it kind of happens. JJ, good to have you on the show again. How things going? How's the offseason? I would say, did you have some time off? But you've been busy with winter meetings.
Yeah, we had a busy week last week, but winter meetings are always fun, and you know they're productive for us. So spent 3 days in Dallas and back home here now, trying to work through the off season.
The rumor is that the GMs like to have a little fun down in the winter meetings. Are you a part of that crew?
I don't know what crew that might be. It's a couple social calls, and then hang out in the room and spend time with our scouts in our front office.
I couldn't figure out exactly on this end how it works, but do you get the invite to all the players' weddings? Like, did you get invited to Bobby Witt Jr.'s?
No. I think there was a couple weddings over the years I've been invited to, but that's one of those things. I think the players need to enjoy it, and they don't want their bosses around.
So you're gonna have to watch the photos on People Magazine like the rest of us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been filled in. I've seen them.
All right. Well, let's get into what maybe has happened the last couple of weeks in particular. And I remember last year, winter meetings, there was some fans at the time where we're looking at what hadn't happened and people were getting antsy. And then ultimately, you guys, of course, make some moves later in January. Take us through what those few days at the winter meetings are like, though. Or how much is it just setting up maybe future moves that you guys could still be making here in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think that's where the winter meetings have changed over the years. For a number of years, there was so much action during the winter meetings. Trades were made, free agents were being signed. I think teams are a little bit more meticulous now and spend more time in their decision-making process. So, we had the GM meetings really the first week of November, and you lay some groundwork there, what you're thinking about your club, and then you go into the winter meetings. You continue those discussions, and now as the free agents are signing, which is nice because it's earlier this year than it was last year, the free agents are signing, you can sort of see where teams are, where they're going, how they're shaping their clubs, which should lead to better discussions in the coming weeks and months. So I think every offseason, though, it just has a little bit different rhythm to it. Last year we left the winter meetings, we had a lot of holes to fill, and we chose to go the reliever route initially, and over the course of what was this week last year, we were able to sign a couple starters, a couple of relievers. Hunter Renfroe was in the mix by the end of the week, and then this year is just a little bit different rhythm to it, and that's where we just have to be nimble and be able to work through it, keep thinking, keep challenging, keep asking questions internally, and having the conversations with the other clubs, because they're where they thought they might be going in early November may change, by the beginning of December or the beginning of January. So you just got to stay in contact with the other clubs and, make sure you're on top of what they're thinking.
I know it's a moving target because it certainly is, but how close do you think you are to what your original plan was going into the offseason, as far as what percentage are you towards your goal of what you wanted the team to look like by spring?
Well, I would say we're 75% in the sense that we needed to re-sign Michael Waka or a starting pitcher, and we needed a leadoff hitter, and those two things were accomplished pretty early. Now, we're getting a little bit more specific in how we're trying to finish the club off. You always want pitching depth if there's pitching available via free agency or through trade. We always have to look at that. Right now, the left-handed side of another infielder is preferable, but it's more of a role than it is an everyday job. So really, we're just putting those last pieces of the puzzle in place, and that's where we just have to be patient. At times you get frustrated because you want to know who's on your club and what the club's going to look like, and just get into spring training. But I think this year we're going to be a little bit more patient to wait for that right player to become available. Or quite honestly, for in our situation, we want some of these prices to come down, when you're talking about a role player. So it's just, it's just a different feel to it. But to answer your question, the heavy lifting was done with Waka and Jonathan India.
You mentioned waiting for price to go down. We know last year, ultimately, when you guys were able to sign, I think it was Waka, if I'm not mistaken. At that point, that was maybe a player that the price did come down, or you were able to at least go into John Sherman and see if you could extend it out a little bit to go, hey, this is a player that can really help our roster. Can we extend this out? Do you feel like you have that flexibility still? If let's say a player was available in January that maybe it's a little bit above what you guys were looking at, do you feel like you have the ability to still do that?
Yeah, I think we have the ability to do it, but where you want to be careful is it needs to be the right player and at the right price. Last year, when Michael Waka was still available, we had a really good sense of what he was going to sign for, and he was the right player for us. The majority of our lineup is back. Our rotation, for the most part, is back. We're working from a different place this year. I think you want to be opportunistic, and if a player that maybe we're not seeing is available right now, and you can go get him, and whether it's I'm talking about trade there, and the price tag's a little bit higher, but it makes sense for the club, not only in the short term, but the long term, that's the appropriate time to have those types of discussions with Mr. Sherman. So he's open-minded. He's always open to ideas, so I don't worry about that. But I like where our payroll is right now. I think we're in a really good spot. We have a little bit of money to spend. We have a few smaller holes to fill. We should be able to manage that well.
Speaking of trades, the one you made, obviously, for Jonathan India a month or so ago meant you had more than one second baseman there for a while. Obviously, the reports is that both India and Michael Massey have offered to play left field for you. You had mentioned to us that Massey had offered that somewhere in the middle of the season. How quickly do you think, if you wanted to get him some time out there, how quickly do you think a guy like Michael Massey could pick up left field?
Well, he's a good athlete. I mean, I can only go off of past experiences, and the one that really jumps out was when Alex Gordon went from the infield to the outfield and obviously did it exceptionally well. But Michael, where it starts is, are they athletic enough to go out to left field? Michael Massey is athletic enough to do that. Now it's just a matter of seeing him in that spot. One thing I'll mention, it's a little bit different than Alex compared to Michael. Alex played on the left side of the infield at third base, so the reads that he would get, the bat path that he's following, and the jumps he would get was more natural for him because it was the same as what he saw from third base. Where Michael, he's going to go from second base to left field, and that may play a little bit may affect his learning curve in left field. And by no means are we committed to Michael playing left field. We have to let this play out. We value the versatility in players. If Michael's able to go to left field and play out there because we want another left-handed bat in somehow, and it makes sense for him to go out there, we want him to be prepared to do that. And the same thing can be said for India. We feel the same way about India, and even Michael Garcia. All of the flexibility that those three players give us will allow us to put the pieces together. It's just going to take a little bit of time. We're going to need to see it in spring training, get comfortable with one or two of those guys doing those things. And once we get there, I can answer that a lot better. But I do think Michael has the ability to do it because he's a good athlete.
Does that mean you'll look at the India and Massey at third too, just like super flexibility, right? Like, could they play 5 games at third or anything else,
Yeah, no question. Because you guys watch this play. I mean, Q likes to match up. He likes to optimize. Not necessarily just your starting lineup, but what do we have on the bench for a particular bullpen? So we may put lineups together according to that as well. But the more versatility you have, the better off you're going to be. Even mid-game changes you're making. You pinch hit, you pinch run. Now you have to move somebody to another spot. The experience that they can gain through spring training in the first half of the year will be really valuable, for the back half of the season.
We're talking to the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, here on 96.5 The Fan. Knowing how healthy you guys were for the most part as a team, and certainly when it comes to rotation, what can you do? How do you plan for what potentially could be regression-wise, not even so much performance, but just health? Of course, you would love to be perfectly healthy in 2025, but that's usually not how this thing goes.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. It's something we're really aware of. When we reflect on the year and why did we have success, it always comes up in those conversations. Our starting rotation was healthy, and they were healthy all year long. So how do you prepare? It's depth in your starters. So you go Reagans, Lugo, Waka, Marsh, Chris Bubich, Noah Cameron. They're the ones, and I forget Kyle Wright is coming back this year as well. So we're starting with 7 deep, which is a good thing. Daniel Lynch is another person who could start for us. So you count Daniel, it's 8. So you just have to have depth in the minor leagues as well. So most of those guys I just mentioned, if not all of them, are going to be on our major league team opening day. But who do you have in AAA that also can step in and make a starter too? So it's really, we have the quality. Now we're looking at quantity. If you're going to protect yourself against injury, it's the quantity of guys you have that can step in when needed.
Kyle Wright, is this considered, are you guys going to treat it as a rehab year? I know last year Chris Bubich, really it was July, I believe, before he was available really for you guys, and it was a rehab year. He was exceptional when he came back in the bullpen. Is that what fans should expect in terms of timeline or anything like that for Kyle Wright?
I think he's a little bit ahead of Chris. You know, there's some reasonable expectation that he could be ready in April. Again, with him, it's going to be what's he look like in spring training, facing hitters, feel of pitches. You know, I think we have to prepare ourselves that it may not be opening day. If it is, that's outstanding for us. But he would be handled quite differently because he's so far removed from his surgery and he's ready to go in the early part of the season, where Chris Bubich, it was the latter part of the season that he was going to return. So I think it's a little bit different, different injuries. So how guys respond between elbow and shoulder can be very different as well. But we liked where Kyle was at the end of the season in his bullpens, the velocity we were seeing. He was gaining feel of his pitches, so he felt good about it. So we'll be optimistic that he'll be ready opening day, but realistically, I think it may be a little bit into the season, and then, you know, it's kind of just monitor as you go.
JJ, I want to ask you a couple of bigger baseball questions. I have openly stated, I think Alex agrees with me, I think baseball has to do something about the deferred money contracts. I think it's bad for the sport. Rob Manfred had said that the deferrals can become problematic. We see this money, certainly by the Dodgers and other teams, being handed out 10, 20 years down the road. Do you think that serves the sport? Does it put small market clubs like yours at an even greater disadvantage?
I think that it does. I don't think there's any question, especially when you see, you know, how much is being deferred into the future years when you hit $1 billion. But what I will say is, you know, the Dodgers have the right to do that right now, and who are we to say they shouldn't be doing that when they have the financial means to do it? But it does create a gap, and it does change the dynamics of the game, and you know, it furthers the financial gap even more. But, you know, I can't get too consumed with that. As the leader of this organization, we can't get wrapped up in that. We know what our rules are, and we go by them, and we make it work. I mean, that's the challenge of this job, and quite honestly, that's what makes it exciting and fun. You know, I don't work for the teams that are deferring money, so I just try to stick to what we can do than worry about what they are doing.
I'm curious, what was your first reaction when you heard even the remote idea of something called the Golden Bat Rule?
Not too crazy about it.
As a baseball purist, I imagine that's a bit of a jump.
Yeah, and that caught us off guard, and we had come out of meetings 2 or 3 weeks earlier talking about other potential rule changes down the road, which happens every year. There's always, you know, proposals. But that wasn't one of them. And then when I found out that was actually an old interview that was brought back to life, and it caused a stir, it made a little bit more sense to me. But needless to say, I wouldn't be too crazy about that. And there's all kinds of holes in that type of rule. But I wouldn't be too crazy about a rule like that.
Where is, like you had mentioned, the starting pitching and the stuff that comes with it, where is your minor league system as you see it right now versus like maybe when you took it over or where it was before you guys went on the run in the early 2010s? Just where do you guys internally view your minor league system as far as how close it is to helping you regularly, either in trade or at the big league level?
Yeah, no, well, in trade, there's no question that it can help us right now. I mean, that's the question for us, right? How much of the future do you want to give up for this current team? If it's really impactful, sure, you got to look at it. But we have to think short-term and long-term. And a lot of guys that are in A-ball now, or maybe even in Double-A that are 2 or 3 years away, they're a big part of our future because the team that we have right now is not going to be the team we have in 28 and 29. So we need to make sure we hold on to the right guys. Doesn't mean we won't make a trade, but our system is healthy. I mean, we have plenty of opportunity to trade any prospects we'd like to. If I had to say where's our strength, I think it is the depth of the pitching throughout the system. There's a lot of guys that are in Double-A that we think are pretty close. Some guys have got a taste of Triple-A that are pretty close. And then there's guys that are in A-ball that we're excited about. So the pitching is where we feel really good. There's a couple of big bats that we think are going to impact our big league team in the next, I'll say 2 years, 2 to 3 years. One in A-ball, one in Double-A. and one that came out of last year's draft, in Jack Caglione. So, there's a few bats that we view as impactful bats that just may not be ready for the big leagues today.
Does he have the most raw power, big league or otherwise, in the organization?
Yeah, he does. Not to take away from anybody else, but it's different.
Freakish.
It's loud. Yeah. I mean, he'll hit a ball to the opposite field 420 feet, and it's just there's strength there that allows him to do that. That's how he's made. So he just got that natural power, but he's got a good swing. He's got a good feel for the strike zone. So it's not just the raw power. He was drafted because he performed with that raw power. Drafted where he was drafted because he performed with that raw power. But it's legitimate raw power. It's as good as you'll see.
JJ Picollo, general manager of the Kansas City Royals. Good to check in with you. Appreciate it. I'm sure we'll do the same thing next month.
Sounds good, guys. Happy holidays to you.
Absolutely. Happy holidays. General manager JJ Picollo joining us here on 96.5 The Fan.
Interesting he didn't bring up the middle of the order bat. That was kind of an off-season conversation a little bit.
Well, I think so he said 75% of where. Yeah. So you asked him kind of they're basically the goals that were mentioned, getting a leadoff hitter, bringing back Michael Walker. So those would be that. I would imagine that's
part of that 25%.
Well, that's part of the 75% that they've already done, and then there's a 25%, which I think is very obviously still a middle of the order bat. But he did say, quite honestly, I think I'm paraphrasing, but I think he said, quite honestly, we're waiting for some prices to lower.
Yeah,
and that's
waiting for the deals.
And that's why I asked, do they have the flexibility like they had a year ago, which we all know financially that necessarily weren't in position in December to go spend the money on Walker, but then they got to a point where, hey, we can go and really help ours. We can go get another player, and we're willing to. Maybe they extended out the payroll last year more than it was initially slotted to be. Are we seeing it kind of bounce back out this year, or are they willing to go and once again push it a little bit? And it kind of sounded like that it's not an impossible thing, but that would have to be involved in a trade more so than a free agent acquisition.
Yeah, it sounds like yes, which I guess could bring back like the Cody Bellinger questions or the things about these advanced bats. That just makes me think boom. Like, it doesn't sound like they're going to go find
that would be nice.
The bat who's floating around in free agency who's going to require the $100 million deal. Like, it doesn't sound like that's the route they're going to go. And instead, it would be a player on a controllable contract with numbers that make sense and that they might be more willing to give up minor league players to go with it. I'm just going to say it now. I think you and I should plan another Cody Gold road trip to go watch Jack Caglione slap a baseball around because he hits the ball so hard. I just want to see it in person once, You want to do a road trip again?
Go to what, Arkansas?
Might be Omaha this year. He was in AA for a little bit last year. Might be Omaha this year.
You think he'll start AAA?
I don't know,
Was he in? I don't think.
I thought he got to Omaha. Did he only get to AA?
I thought he was just A-ball.
Okay. Oh, man, he didn't get
Remember,
to
he
AA?
got drafted last year, so he wasn't even there for
Okay, so maybe back to Arkansas. I take it back.
Yeah, no, he
But
was,
he's a college player, so they move through the system a little faster.
Sure, no, he high A-ball. Yeah, Quad Cities.
Okay, so we'll start the year at AA. We'll get to AAA halfway through the year.
But back to what you were saying, like with just the rest of the offseason. I mean, I don't know. Did you take that as like they're completely out on the middle of the order bat? I did
took it
not.
as it didn't sound like it was as pressing as the way they were talking about it a month ago.
Fair.
They weren't talking about
fair.
it with the same gusto as they were talking about it a month ago.
I think that is fair. The remaining 25%, if you were just going based off his answer about being 75% done, is the remaining 25% just going to be depth type stuff? I mean, that was part of the answer. Or are they completely out on the middle of the order bat? I don't believe they are. That's just my personal belief. I still think that there's another move to come before the start of the season. But if you were out there thinking Cody Bellinger, obviously that's off the table. If you were thinking some other middle of the order bat that maybe was mentioned early on, maybe that's not there. Is it Profar still a candidate to be involved in a trade? I think maybe so.
I think, again, that seems to be the level. And by middle of the order, I think they're really looking for someone in that 5-6 range. Look, we're good with Vinny, Salvi, Bobby, like a lot of the guys, and I think you and I both know Jonathan India is going to lead off for this team most of the time. So 1 through 4, all right, you got something a little bit cooking there. You're looking for the guys at 5-6 that add a little more power, can drive in some of these guys behind. That's not an easy bat to find. That has traditionally been kind of a bat that's disappointed them over the years, where it's been MJ at times or Hunter Renfroe at times, or some of these other hitters where they've tried there at 5-6 and gotten not enough production out of that spot. It just didn't sound like he was talking about it with the same urgency. That's all. Not that it's off the table. The fact that they're only 75% done with their offseason plan, in my opinion, of where they wanted to be, tells me that they're still willing to have quite a bit of movement.
Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll get back into some of what JJ Picollo had to say, and also more on the Cody Bellinger thing. What does that mean? Were they deep down actually involved in that, based on what we just heard from JJ Picollo? That's coming up in a bit. But let's get to a quick random question of the day.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew. The text line 913-586-7965. Of course, like, subscribe, watch over on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. It always helps when you like and subscribe those over there. I'll ask you this question, because everyone's been asking these Spotify rap questions. I know you don't listen to Spotify that much, and Drew is an Apple Music guy, so it's not that. My question is, if they made a Spotify rap for top 3 meals you've eaten most this year, what's number 1? What do you think is the food you've consumed?
Or just in general?
Just in general. I don't care if you make spaghetti and meatballs every Saturday night. I want to know your Spotify wrapped essentially, but for meals. What's the food you've cooked the most? I think mine's pizza. If it's just all-encompassing pizza, I think I've had pizza more meals because frozen pizza sometime for lunch or eat-out pizza for another one. I'm going to guess that's my number 1 consumed food this year.
Number 1, this is easy. Number
Not
1.
Chipotle for you anymore.
No. Number 1, if we're just including it, tacos. I've had, there's no question.
How many often do you get tacos a week?
At least once, maybe twice a week, I'm eating tacos. So definitely, tacos are probably the far and away the number 1 on the list of food item I've had the most of in 2024. I don't think it's close.
What's your number 1 beverage?
Like non-alcoholic beverage?
Yeah,
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, like soft drink wise, and I don't usually
Diet Dr. Pepper for me.
I don't keep soda or pop or whatever like in the fridge or anything. It's if I'm going out somewhere like at a restaurant, then that's probably what I order most of the time.
What alcoholic beverage?
Probably just a standard Coors Light.
Just Coors Light.
Yeah.
Okay. Drew, what's your number 1 eating food?
Food, I would say either pizza or just chicken.
Like what kind of chicken, though?
Just like grilled chicken? Chicken's too general. I'm talking like a meal. Chicken and because that's
beef.
Probably everyone's beef. Because like taco, that's like I want like the way is it roast chicken? What kind of chicken are you eating?
Like baked chicken.
Okay.
I typically bake chicken if I have it. I'll bake it.
Text line 913-586-7965. Someone says lemon chicken pasta. Homemade or
really good.
That actually sounds really good. Someone says, what happened to Alex and Chipotle? You got we're on the outs. We're separated.
Seeing other people.
Yeah. Some of this is my
divorce.
Some of it is my a lot of it's my doing, some of it's their doing. But yeah, no, I don't go there very often anymore.
Someone said waters are number 1, and then natural lights would be the number 1.
I wish water was my number 1.
Alcoholic drink.
Yeah, if you're asking me to go past number 1 on food, whatever. Number 1 tacos. Number 2 would probably be like, honestly, brisket or steak.
You've eaten that enough times, like once a week. I don't eat
not
steak
once a week. Not once a week.
I probably had steak I've had it this year. It's not that. It's just like
what's the place maybe
further down?
I know you don't eat out a lot, Cody. Whether it's sit down or fast casual, or however you want to categorize. What's other than you making? What's the one item or place you think you've gone the most that's not you cooking?
I got little kids. It's probably McDonald's.
Yeah.
Happy Meals. Yeah. I'm gonna guess. McDonald's is number 1 in the.
That's probably number 1. It's
department.
probably still number 1 for me.
If we eliminated it to like Spotify wrap of home meal, like cooks, I didn't limit this because you don't cook a ton at home. Is like meals I've cooked at home. The answer is probably some sort of like red sauce pasta bake. I'm guessing we've made that once every 2.5 weeks. Like stuff comes back in the rotation.
Someone said it sounds like I'm a 4-year-old.
You?
Why?
Yeah. Oh, because you said pizza and chicken? Oh, well, I mean, that's
pretty classic.
Chicken, though, that's why you have to be.
There's a variety of chicken. Like, I think chicken is the food that I've eaten the most of.
So it's not my favorite non-alcoholic drink is Propel. At work, I have. At home, I don't drink Propel. It's something in the morning. So
if you actually track this, I think you would I think all of us would immediately change it. Like if they did an actual Spotify rap at the end of the year, they were like, here's every meal you ate. Cody would be like, oh, God.
Oh, I know I don't eat healthy.
Like
I know this
if you
already.
found out number 3 was donuts, but and then they gave you the number though, like in your minutes,
I know.
And they said, "Gold, you've eaten 611 donuts this year." You're like, damn, I gotta change some things.
Oh, I know I don't eat healthy.
Yeah,
I definitely know I don't eat healthy. I've had way too many of those Hostess mini donuts in 2024. I'll tell you that. Way too many times.
But if they counted it, it would feel worse.
Oh yeah, like. Yeah, there's no question. No, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup consumption down probably 90% in 2024. Chipotle and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups down 90% of my diet.
How about snacks then? I guess that.
What's the one snack?
Yeah,
I don't snack really.
That's all I do.
But you and I, this is where in our midday slot, they make a lot of money off us in the company kitchen thing over there because you'll grab chips, I'll grab chips. Like I've been doing the Simply Pop though. That stuff's good. I've been doing that during the break sometimes.
After work, sometimes I'll eat like a.
We're way late for a break. Sorry, my bad. Just realized
that's all
that. But don't forget though,
that's
the random question of the day. Up next, let's talk more about what's happening in Atlanta with Michael Penix, and we'll get right back into some of the comments from JJ Picollo and the Royals.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare and you want out, you need to get the facts. Wesley Financial Group and its founder, Chuck McDowell, have helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshares permanently, and he may be able to help you too. Call right now. Chuck will send you a timeshare exit information guide free explaining how your timeshare works and all your options for cancellation. You want to call Wesley Financial Group, 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Once again, 800-761-0000.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door if it isn't ready. Let Overhead Door Company of Kansas City come out and perform their 14-point tune-up on the garage door and 12-point tune-up on the opener. One price covers 3 garage doors and openers. The work is guaranteed. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City, trusted here since 1927. Call now to schedule your garage door tune-up, 816-221-0072, or schedule online at ohdkc.com. ohdkc.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's enhanced network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
At Jefferson's, our favorite day is game day, especially on Kansas City game day. We know our guys in red like to play down to the wire. And we're here for every second of it. Our ice-cold beers pair perfectly with a blocked field goal. Our double-dip wings taste even crispier when KC makes yet another game-changing play. It just tastes better when you're watching at a bar that's owned and operated locally. Join us on game day and every day at Jefferson's, 87th Street in Lackman in Lenexa and North Kansas City on Armour Road. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning diamond pendant, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer. Or maybe you're looking for that perfect gemstone piece or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
We got a new function on the Odyssey app.
Did you guys know that this is a thing? I can send you messages from the Odyssey app. Kind of crazy.
KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
1 o'clock hour here on a Wednesday. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. It's Cody and Gold here on 96.5 The Fan. You guys can continue to text in 913-586-7965.
Somebody was worried your peanut butter consumption went down because of my Christmas gift last year.
And
I actually think it was already starting to shift.
Yeah, it coincided with the lack of smell, which is still a year later, which sucks. So that has definitely impacted the Reese's.
I thought you bought like a smelling kit.
I've been bad about using it.
Come on, man. You did this year.
Did it work at least when you did use it?
I was already starting to smell a little bit for like 3 weeks before. This was probably a couple weeks before we went to Vegas, so early October. And I was like, wow, I'm starting to I can start smelling things. Here we go. And then I bought the kit because I wanted to enhance it. And I did that for a little while. Went to Vegas, I could still smell there. And then probably a week or two in November, it went away, and now it's completely gone again.
Has it ruined any other food for you?
Yeah,
less
absolutely.
Reese's peanut butter cup, less Chipotle.
Here's what it's done.
What else has it gotten rid of?
It's bad because not only is it annoying, some food in a weird way, the saltier the food, the more I like stuff that's not heavily flavored. I really can't taste very well. So if something is heavily salted, peppered, or whatever, I can really taste it. Now I've never I'm not big on putting extra pepper and salt. But if the dish already, last night I had Chinese food. Okay,
that's a classic salt and pepper
right?
food.
I had chicken fried rice and some wonton soup. The wonton soup was not nearly as salty as it normally is, but it doesn't mean it wasn't salty. The chicken fried rice was good, but it didn't taste the same as it did when I had it 2 months ago.
Did you go to like a local Chinese place,
Yeah,
or did you just go to
that I've gone?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like that or like a Panda Express.
No, I'm talking about an actual Chinese restaurant. I'm not going to give them free love, but yeah, it's been the part of town I live in. It's right around in that area.
Sure.
It's an actual restaurant. It's been around for probably 20 years at this
Little
point
surprised
in
you're a
time.
wonton soup guy.
I like
wonton soup. Didn't know.
Wonton soup, chicken fried rice. Mm-hmm.
Chicken fried rice doesn't surprise me. That's
yeah. My mom was busy with some work stuff, so my dad wasn't going to get dinner with her. So he's like, "Do you want to go get dinner?" So him and I went and had some Chinese food last night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just you and the dad?
Yeah.
Little father-son
That's
time?
fine. Yeah.
Wow. What a moment. What'd you guys talk about?
He asked how the show was today.
What?
He's like, "How was the show?" I was like, "Good." Usually that's how was the show. Like, oh, it's terrible. Cody was awful. And Drew was terrible.
Really mean to me.
They were just jerks. And,
Drew's a Bengals fan.
Drew's a Bengals fan. You know how that is, No, it was just small talk stuff. Nothing really going on.
It's a typical
chopping up a pig behind the restaurant.
Oh, man.
No.
Just on the sidewalk.
Is your stomach feeling okay today?
Someone says, have I been to an ENT? This is not to bore you guys. I had gone to, remember, because I had the allergy stuff going on, everything all once.
He saw many ENTs.
Yes. No, I never went to an ENT.
Oh, maybe not.
Went to a doctor. The allergy and respiratory stuff is all under control. That's all fine. Better than it's been in a.
Yeah, you seem right. But you were wrong for about a year on that.
Yeah, it was a mess. So every time I go to the doctor, I've said, hey, I still can't smell. And they're like, yeah, we think it's just long COVID, just kind of basically like SOL. They didn't say that, but that's basically what they said.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So they're like, we could refer you to ENT if you want. I'm about ready to be like, hey, is this the fact that it came back, though, gives me some hope that it is just something I'm going to have to keep waiting out. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Sometimes people say it comes back still later.
No,
I still think you should use your smelling kit,
I should. I think that I can, because it's strong. It's like clove and eucalyptus, like there's strong smells like rose and lavender. Like
is it smelling salts or is it?
No, they're basically capsules, and you open them and you sniff. Sure. I'm sure it's great and healthy.
Sounds like a lovely Wednesday night, for you and the
I'll bring him. You want me to bring in the smelling kit? You can try.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway,
the biggest news yesterday in the NFL was that even though they're only a game back in their division and possess the tiebreaker against their divisional opponent in the Bucs, the Atlanta Falcons have made the shift. They paid $160 million over 4 years to Kirk Cousins, a lot of which they still owe him and is guaranteed, and he's under a no-trade clause. But they're switching to Penix anyway. In the middle of a playoff hunt, after Week 14 of the NFL season, you do not see this very often for a team who spent this amount of free agency dollars. I still think they're idiots, and they're going to screw up Penix somehow, because no amount of any decision they've made has been the right one. They paid Kirk Cousins. Bad decision, it turns out. And we liked the move at the time, but we get the revisionist part of this now, and it was a bad move that they shouldn't have made. And then it didn't make sense to pay Kirk Cousins that amount of money, draft an older quarterback in Michael Penix, and then what? Hope he gets to start at age 26, so that part of the plan doesn't make any sense. To your point earlier, I'll give him credit. It would have been easy to just keep starting Kirk Cousins, see if you can limp into the playoffs, and then hand the keys over to Penix next year after Kirk stinks the entire season. But they made the switch. Penix gives them a better chance to win now, and they're going to do that. So kudos.
Right. So totally with you on that. As I said, I think a lot of teams would have just continued to stick with the guy they paid all this money to save face and all of that. And they were willing to be honest with themselves when they asked the question after Monday night's win against the Raiders, is Kirk Cousins giving us the best chance to win football games? And they're a game out of a playoff spot right now. And the answer is obviously no. And they were honest with themselves. They said, no, Michael Penix does, and they're making the move. It sounds simple, but there's a lot of teams that are not willing to do that. And so that's where they get some credit. But the entire situation was self-created. They went out and signed Kirk Cousins and gave him all this money. And yes, at the time, I had no issue with it. And I still have no issue with the initial thought of it. My thought, though, when they signed him is that they had felt confident medically that he was going to be fine, and clearly he's not.
Yeah.
But to Ross Tucker's point earlier in the show, and you'll hear our conversation with Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL Insider, coming up in about a half hour, there was a stretch. I know it doesn't feel like there was a stretch of like 5 games where Kirk Cousins looked really good. They were putting up a lot of points. They were a 6-3 football team.
Yeah.
So what happened? Did he get re-injured? Did he just lose all confidence? I find that hard to believe for a veteran, but it looks like he's not confident in his own ability to play, which goes back to the health thing. So Michael Penix, the draft pick, it should have drafted a defensive guy. Now it looks weird. Now it looks good because they have a backup plan. I guess if they make the playoffs with Michael Penix, like if they win the division, which is still a very likely scenario, I believe, given their schedule and the tiebreaker over the Bucs, if they get to the playoffs, then Michael Penix being their quarterback of the future, then that's all good. But they're going to have to eat 90. They're going to basically pay Kirk Cousins $90 million to play 14 football games.
Do you want to know what I think the truth is? And I don't think it's faded away yet. I think Tom Brady made us forget what old quarterbacks look like. He is a 38-year-old quarterback coming off of a major injury. We used to bury quarterbacks for having any chance of success at that age. They signed a 38, like in retrospect, I can't even believe I liked this deal in the first place. A 38-year-old quarterback coming off of a major injury? That's a no. That's a pass.
Him and Aaron Rodgers.
Part of the reason I like the Cousins one is what Ross Tucker mentioned, which you can hear back here coming up in about 15 minutes, which is, their quarterback situation was so bad. I just figured, well, you got to do something about it. It's awful. And so part of me, but like in retrospect, no wonder Aaron Rodgers stinks or Kirk Cousins stinks. 38, 39, 40-year-old players are supposed to be bad. They're old. They're real old. And they're coming off of, again, major injuries. This is not a surprising development. Under any other case, before Tom Brady existed and played high-level football at 45, we wouldn't even entertain a quarterback playing at a high level at that age. We got washed away in what was the glaze of he seemed to be the only person who beat Father Time. And so, God, Peyton Manning was younger than Kirk Cousins is now when his career washed away. And so, fine. I'm glad they turned it over to Penix. He can't be worse than Cousins right now. Is playing right now. That's impossible. But do I trust? I'll be honest. The reports are like, they love Penix, though.
Of course they do.
And arm. I'll be like, I got to be honest. This organization's been together for a little while. They've had a couple cracks at quarterback. I'm not totally sure I would trust their judgment. I'm not just being like, Penix is going to be a star. I don't know how Penix is going to be. I liked him fine coming out of the draft, but
I
it's
think,
okay.
Though, because Drew mentioned Bo Nix earlier, hey, age-wise, what I took from that is there a chance Michael Penix is better prepared, though, to jump in? Because I think that's why Bo Nix has had success this year. He is experienced, which is why when we've looked at Bo Nix, he deserves a lot of credit. I also still think his ceiling is lower because and his floor is clearly higher, though. So if Michael Penix, if his floor is higher, well, then he's going to come in and maybe have some success. I don't know long-term what he's going to be. Bo Nix is never going to be a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback, in my opinion, in football.
No.
But he's also going to probably be in the range to get him paid for a long time in this league, 10 to 15th.
Great if you're a Chiefs fan. If he gets Brock Purdy's most recent estimate is like $300 million or something.
Michael Penix, because of his age and all the experience in college, if he can stay healthy, because that was a question coming out of the draft, if he can do that, there is a chance that I could see him having some success quickly. Now, one thing to watch him practice and actually play in a game, but the fact that he's also making his debut in December and not in September means he definitely has a better grasp of this offense than he would have in September. I mean, that's just absolutely true. But can he handle the moments in live action in the NFL at that speed? The good news is the schedule is soft for them. It's the Giants, Carolina, and the Commanders, I believe. That'll be the toughest one.
And the Commanders one, I don't know if that one's home or the road. And look, the Commanders might have their positioning kind of locked by then, depending on what they win.
Textline wants to know if you know where Michael Penix played college football.
I normally don't know where they play college football while they're actively in college.
Okay.
But the draft helps a little bit, and he was a top 10 pick. Washington?
Where else?
Well,
yes.
He played somewhere else?
Yes. And hold on, let me give you a clue. They're one of the great stories. This is given away. One of the great stories of college football this year.
They're in the playoff.
Boise?
No.
Indiana. Sorry. I guess I thought the clue was going to make it obvious, but you're right. You thought
They
Boise.
seemed like a pretty good story this year. I didn't know.
They were a good story when he played, too, because he led them to 9 wins that
I
year.
thought the clue was going to automatically give it away, but I guess
Boise State's also a good story.
Could have applied.
And you were giving me the hint? I was just supposed to assume Boise State at that point.
Fair.
He was playing college football in the COVID year. That's how far back you got to go for Penix.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience. I know Desmond Howard probably is going to be very, very excited now about this development of Michael Penix getting some playing time.
Quarterback, and they know that every time he takes the field, he's going to bring that big Penix energy. He's going to bring that big Penix energy. He's going to bring that big Penix energy.
He didn't need to say it 3 times.
I know.
Let's go, baby.
The 3 times makes it. I'll say, because that's the question. It's from the 9-1-3. If he blows everyone away, what do they do with Kirk's contract? Eat it.
Well, Kirk's done in Atlanta no matter what.
Yeah,
I mean, that's over.
We have seen this now probably 3 times in the last 5 years in the NFL, and you're like, well, there's just no way they can take on $62 million in dead cap. Yeah, they can, and they will. They're going to have to pay him anyway, and they're just going to pay him while they have a quarterback on a rookie contract. The downside to this happening to Atlanta, it's the same thing that happened with Brock Purdy, and it's happened to some other organizations. The thing that stinks about this, because it's happening in Denver right now, Denver could be an even better team with even greater upside, but they're paying Russ $50 million to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so it stinks, and you don't get the advantage of rookie contract on a rookie deal the same way, because it'll be rookie contract. It'll be rookie quarterback on Kirk Cousins' deal, essentially. You won't get the advantage of the rookie contract he'll just be paying for Kirk Cousins money.
But you got to get better. You got to get better quarterback play, and that's what they're going to get from Michael Penix. Now, to what extent we don't know. But it really, you said it. Like honestly, it can't get worse because Kirk Cousins had thrown one touchdown and like 9 picks over his last 3 games, 4 games,
5 games.
5 games. I mean, that's not. I mean, you can't win.
His first touchdown in the last 5 games was Monday night.
You can't win games consistently like that's why they were on a 4-game losing streak or whatever. They won Monday night because they were playing a terrible Raiders team that was starting Desmond Ridder at quarterback, and they were having success running the football. That's the one thing with Atlanta. Like they can run. Nobody that is not a problem. Robinson and Algier, they're having success running the football. They have some weapons in Drake London and Mooney. Kirk Cousins had 11 completions on Monday Night Football. 11.
It's nice to have a quarterback too.
And they won.
He was because Penix was throwing for like 350 a game at Washington. Like they were airing it out.
I will say, good on Kirk Cousins for getting the no trade clause in his contract because now he gets to do the same thing Derek Carr did to the Raiders, which is, hey, we'd like to trade you to team. Nah, I'm good. What do you mean? Pay me my contract. I'll take every cent I'm owed, and then I will just go choose any of the 32 teams who want me. I'm not going to let you determine
Do you
who
think
will trade
he's
for me.
going to want him after the contract, though?
Okay, so we always say this. I think
somebody
on
a basically no money deal. Nobody's going to trade for him and pay him that contract. If he gets traded, the Falcons are still going to have to eat the money.
I think this is really common where like we immediately like who would let them start? And I just need to point out a couple real quick. If your comment is he looks so terrible, who would let Kirk Cousins start an NFL football game again? Do I need to pull up the last 2 years of Russell Wilson in Denver?
You'd rather have Carson Wentz though than Kirk Cousins.
No.
I think the way he's played.
Carson Wentz hasn't started in 5 years.
I know, but the way he's played.
But it's the same thing as the exact example Cody gave. We were all saying the same thing about Russ. I mean, Russ
got a job.
Russ was horrendous, and then he still got a job because the Steelers are only paying him $1 million, and then to their credit, he's playing some good football right now. I get what you're saying, but like we literally just saw the same scenario. The only difference would be if we find out that Kirk Cousins is truly hurt still and like re-injured it and needs to have a procedure again. But so far we haven't heard any of that. Like Raheem Morris was speaking just now. I saw some quotes coming out of Atlanta, and he was obviously acknowledging Kirk Cousins as the person, right? Everybody said, like he's a pro, he's a great person. All of that is true. Ultimately, this is a football decision, and that is true. But unless Raheem Morris was like, we're going to take another look, we think he re-injured his Achilles, then if they're only going to have to pay him $1 million somewhere else,
he'll start for the Titans.
Somebody else will sign him for a year because I still think this goes back to the Achilles stuff.
Oh, he might never be able to push off the same way again, which means he's not as good of a player, though. Like
I told you,
it's not Kirk's fault. It's just that.
Oh, right. That's what I'm saying. If it's a health reason why he's playing bad, then you're right. Nobody will sign him. He won't clear a physical, and it'll be pretty evident. But what does he look like in July? I don't think somebody's signing him in March. If you're asking me that, I think this is going to be something in like June or July. Like he's not going to be the first priority for any team. He's going to be somebody goes through free agency in the drafts, and they don't get who they got. They didn't get who they wanted. Yeah, and then they say, hey, let's check in with Kirk Cousins. How's that Achilles? We need to bring you in for a workout. Let's see what's going on.
I just wonder if it's different because Russ was never hurt. He just stunk. Where Kirk Cousins, if he can't push off, like he might be able to throw a ball, but if he can't push off, you're not having the leverage that you need to make a throw.
I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Unless it's totally with you. If it's a health thing, then nobody's going to sign him. That's what we don't. But right now,
we just don't know.
They're not saying that he had a relapse on some Achilles injury or something like that. But if this is who he is health-wise, and if it's a health problem, nobody will sign him. I'm just saying, if it's not a health problem, then somebody will because they'll assume that they can get him right, and he's just off, mentally in the game and confidence right now.
I just think more often than not, teams' quarterbacks are way worse than you think. This year, starting quarterbacks going into the season were Russell Wilson, who everybody thought was cooked, Gardner Minshew. Nobody knew about Sam Darnold.
Daniel Jones.
Bryce Young got benched by his team in the middle of the year this year. Daniel Jones, Will Levis. Are they going to believe in Anthony? Every year, there's 10 teams who would like to upgrade their quarterback situation. They'll kick the tires on Kirk. Not all 10, but a couple will, and somebody will find a spot.
Let's get back to the Royals, though, for a little bit here. We had JJ Picollo on about a half hour or so ago to talk about this offseason post-winter meetings. I want to go back to the angle with Cody Bellinger and also just the middle of the order bat, because I think there were some Royals fans bummed out yesterday when Bellinger was traded to the Yankees. And they saw that the Yankees, now they're going to be paying, $20+ million a year. In terms of actual personnel, they gave up a reliever. That was it. And so there were some Royals fans that were saying, wait, we could have just given up a reliever and had the money. I think the money is clearly part of the problem.
Pretty good money they're going to pay.
$20+ million a year for the next two. Now you can opt out after a year, so maybe you're only on the hook for a year.
Based on the way you performed last year, you're on the hook for both.
And so that's part of the equation. The other part would be looking at Cody Bellinger, who was disappointing last year. And I can't remember who put out the numbers, but at Kauffman State, if he was playing at Kauffman last year, he only would have hit I think 12 balls out of the ballpark, 12 baseballs out of the ballpark. That's it. So
if he played all 162, I guess the good news is 81 are not playing there. But yeah, same point.
Yeah, so maybe maybe they don't view him in that regard. Now, when we had JJ on, though, we asked about flexibility and can they push it, a little bit like they did last year. And you asked him about the percentage of their offseason goals. He said they're waiting for, honestly, the prices to go down on a lot of players. That doesn't just mean free agency, by the way. That could also mean the price of acquiring a player. I don't think the actual acquisition cost for Bellinger was a lot.
No.
It was the payroll cost probably was part of the equation if they were interested, right? It's not giving up a reliever. I don't know if they're against giving up I just keep using his name as an example, random Carlos Hernandez or whatever. I don't know why I just keep.
Let's just say Daniel Lynch for that.
Sure,
right?
That probably isn't the problem. It was probably the $20 million or so that they were going to pay for Cody Bellinger.
If that's the case, then shouldn't they desperately want Bohm?
Well, so do a lot of players. So do a lot of teams. Yeah,
he is cost controlled and available. So you can trade for him, not sign him in free agency, and he is cheap. So I'm just asking, if
the Phillies are going to trade Alec Bohm, but there's the Seattle Seahawks, the Seattle Mariners are the favorite to land him right now.
Here's part of it too, I guess, is that I do think that the Royals' expectation should be to make the playoffs again next year, seeing how they made it this year, and it felt a year early for them, although, regression from the starting pitching staff is there. If they need a bat, if they find out they need a bat, Renfroe can't stay healthy, Massey isn't the bat whatever. The guys that they have options there at 5 and 6 and all that spot in the lineup. Can't you just get it in July? No offense. This move to me doesn't have to happen now. I'm not saying I don't want it, but if you're a good team and in a playoff hunt again and performing well, but you're still missing a middle of the order bat, that is available oftentimes at the trade deadline.
But that's why they need the flexibility position wise from someone like Massey or others, because usually, not always, it's easier to acquire a middle of the order bat at the deadline if you're willing to play them at DH. And this team is kind of, there's a log jam with that. I mean, Vinny's going to be first base 99% of the time.
Salvi's going to get about 70 of the DH
But if you want to continue to utilize the benefit of it, let's hope Freddie Fermin is still as effective as he was this past year at the plate. Well, they're going to try to find ways to get both of those guys in the lineup. Well, you have to utilize a DH in order to do that. And so I hear you by waiting the middle of the order bat, middle of the season, but what's your flexibility like there? And there is a chance, actually, the cost is more, not for a half-season rental, but in general. If there's more teams that are in contention and there's true demand at that point in time, there's a chance that actually the cost is more.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, again, I don't look at that as being a bad thing necessarily, because I know it sounds like hedging. You're I just want to be sure that I feel good about it, but that's the way it goes sometimes in Major League Baseball. You can't put all your chips into one pile.
Up next, we'll get to what's trending, and then you'll hear our conversation we had with Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider. We asked him about handling this Mahomes ankle injury, plus his perspective on the wild card teams right now. Which team, if any, could go on a little bit of a run?
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Alex Gold from Max Motors in Belton, and before we know it, we're going to have inches and inches of snow on the ground. And I know none of us want it, but it's going to happen. We've all lived in Kansas City long enough to know the snowstorm will be here before we know it. And you want to make sure you have a reliable vehicle that can handle that kind of weather. That's why I was excited when I had a chance to go down to Max Motors and test drive the 2024 Jeep Compass 4x4, one of 25 in stock right now. A new 2024 Jeep Compass 4x4 starting at just $24,995, stock number 90114. And maybe you got a bigger family. You got to take the kids to soccer practice. You just want to have a little bit more room. They also have new 2024 Chrysler Pacificas up to $11,000 off MSRP, stock number S240345. And maybe it's time for you just to trade in that vehicle. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. See dealer for details. It's Max Motors, just a short drive to Belton. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. MaxMotors.com.
Men, it's the holidays, the season of all kinds of hustle and bustle. But if your energy is down, if you aren't sleeping well, if your sex drive is MIA, and you just don't feel like the guy you once were, maybe it's tough to get excited for all the holiday cheer. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if this sounds like you may have low testosterone. And if so, this is the season for you to get treated. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. If you're like most guys, you'll feel the change in just a few weeks. And truly, the results can be life-changing. You'll have improved mental clarity, your energy will kick up, your workouts will be better, your sleep patterns will improve, and your sex drive will likely heat up as well. So call us and don't go through another season with low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Well, guys, you did it again. Even though Christmas is on the same date every year, you got busy, and now it's crunch time. And you got nothing for her. Well, that's not exactly true. You got me. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, where there are 3 things we do better than anyone else. We have better diamonds at better prices than even the online guys. We have the most skilled and technologically advanced custom jewelry shop within 200 miles. And no one, I mean no one, personally takes care of last-minute shoppers like I do. Hey, until I opened House of Diamonds, that last-minute guy was me. So I get it. Come in and see me. I'll show you a collection of one-of-a-kind pendants, earrings, bracelets, and rings that will blow her away. She'll think you started working on this back in July. Fellow procrastinators, I've got your back. Come see me at House of Diamonds. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
This Friday only in Old Navy stores. Long sleeve tees are just $5 for adults and $4 for kids. Yep, long sleeve tees are $5 for adults, $4 for kids. But hurry, this deal is one day only this Friday at Old Navy stores. Valid 12/20 in stores and select styles only.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
The college football playoff is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. With the new 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever. TNT's coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st with SMU battling Penn State at noon Eastern. Then, Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Watch the college football playoff, presented by Allstate on TNT and Max.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1 That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare and you want out, you need to get the facts. Wesley Financial Group and its founder, Chuck McDowell, have helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshares permanently, and he may be able to help you too. Call right now. Chuck will send you a timeshare exit information guide free explaining how your timeshare works and all your options for cancellation. You want to call Wesley Financial Group, 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Once again, 800-761-0000.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest, we believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's trending on Cody and Gold, presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Number one, what's trending around Chiefs practice? We start there. Once again, DJ Humphries, Jamari Connor not practicing. Really no surprise there. Patrick Mahomes giving it a go today. We'll find out later on in a couple hours whether or not he was a full participant once again. But you guys know how this goes. It's a Wednesday. DJ Humphries not practicing again. Probably mean he's not playing Saturday.
Yeah. Andy, I said that, like, you got to practice to play. That's Andy's rules. Mm-hmm. Next up on What's Trending, K-State lost to Drake in overtime at T-Mobile, 73-70. UMKC went on to beat Wichita State on the road last night. That's the biggest win of their season. That might be the biggest win of the last 5 years for UMKC. They actually beat Missouri not that long ago, but it turned out it was a year Missouri was like... was pretty bad.
Still a Power 5 school.
Beating the Power 5 school on the road.
But UMKC beating a American Conference school on the run in a bye game. They got paid to go there. That's the best. You get paid to play them, and you beat them.
Missouri also beat Jacksonville State yesterday to move to 10-1 on the season.
Next up on What's Trending, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, says they're monitoring what is happening with three-point attempts. They're increasing is what's happening, and it's getting out of control. And for a lot of the casual fans, it's not watchable. Diehard NBA guys are going to watch the NBA no matter what, but it's the product is suffering. The ratings are showing that, as a matter of fact, as well. There's so many ideas out there. Do you move the line back?
Shrink the basket
size? Shrink the basket. The crazier one was make dunks worth 3 points or 2.5 points or something like that.
2.5. The final score tonight, Pacers 102.5.
No,
Knicks 91.
They would not do half. Half would be stupid. 3 points for dunks would just be insane too. But I get the thought of it. Require you to start driving the paint again.
They got to figure out a way. Maybe you make, I don't know, maybe you make mid-range jumpers worth the same. Yeah, there's got to be some way in order to fix it. They know this. Baseball's been going through this. Every sport goes through this transformation except for the NFL because it's king, where how do you make your sport more interesting? Lastly, on What's Trending, the Ivy League will join the FCS playoff moving forward for college football playoffs starting next year. This is big news, actually, for the Ivies, who do not participate in any postseason conference-y stuff. So now they're going to get to be a part of that. It's good for them.
Yeah,
I guess smart kids before couldn't be breaking into finals time, you know? Now it's fine.
That's right. They're
going to need a delay on their physics final at Stanford. Not Stanford. Brown, whatever.
Yeah, I know what you meant. Stanford.
Brown, Yale, Harvard, those.
Harvard of the West. That's What's Trending. Here on Cody and Gold. Earlier today, Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider, joined us. He joins us every Wednesday thanks to Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. May your game day be delicious. And we started our conversation asking him, all right, as a player, the balance of talking to your coach, and how would you handle this if you're Mahomes and Andy Reid with the ankle?
You know, one thing I think is really interesting about it, I actually spoke this morning with John Ritchie, you know, the former Raiders and Eagles fullback. I never heard this before, but he said it's actually easier to come back from, and you're faster to come back from after you have multiple. I don't know how that makes any sense whatsoever. Yeah. I have not heard that before, but I guess he's had multiple, and that's his experience, which I think is fascinating. I don't know. The guy's Gumby, man. I mean, I feel like this happens every year. I'm sure you guys know. You're Kansas City radio. How many years in a row now has he gotten a high ankle sprain, and we're all like, oh, no, I don't know what's going to happen, and then he comes back and is able to play?
This is his 6th time coming back from an ankle injury before a game. The previous 5 times he did not miss a game. So it didn't matter. Like, sometimes they were in the playoffs and they were severe injuries, or like he was limping significantly. But this will be the 6th time. If he plays on Saturday, he'll be 6 for 6 for getting a high ankle sprain and playing the same week.
Yeah, that is obviously just absurd. I can't believe that that's the case. But that's him. I mean, he has an unbelievable ability to bounce back from those things. I do think if you're Andy Reid and, the organization, I think you have to consider sometimes protecting him from himself. For me, I would love to see Wentz play as like a science experiment, right? Being a Philly guy, I'd love to see what Wentz could do for Andy Reid. The thing that's weirdest to me about that, and I know you guys said they had a light workout or whatever.
Yeah.
But the strangest thing to me about that is the fully participating part of it. Even if you're telling me he's going to play in the game, which I can see, okay, fine. To fully participate in practice? I mean, guys have nothing going on and they're limited participants,
I think
the fully participant thing almost made me skeptical.
In a weird way, the reason why it doesn't for me, Ross, is Andy Reid, there's lots of things. I think 95% of his coaching career, he's been really great at adapting. But there's a couple things he's a no-budge thing on. And one of them is, you want to play? You better practice. And I think with quarterback, it's like you better all the way practice. You don't get a half-ass out here at quarterback and then start on Saturday. I feel like that's just been his stance as a coach.
Well, and I kind of like hearing that. A lot of guys aren't that way. I think that stems from his experience being able to get so many backup quarterbacks ready to play at a high level, thinking, hey, if I get a full work week and I get to show these guys, exactly what this team's going to do and get them prepared, that I think I can have them play at a high level. Because I think it's like there's obviously a lot of value in being able to practice and get those reps. The question is, if you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, who's been your quarterback for all these years now, would you rather have him be at 90% with only getting a couple reps in walkthrough on Friday, or 75% with getting the reps all week?
Sure.
And maybe Andy doesn't look at it, but that's how I look at it. And most coaches, they prefer the guy with being as healthy as possible. Andy, I think to some extent you guys are right. It's very, very important to him that the guys practice.
The reason why this is all so much more complicated, too, is because we know they're in the middle of this 3-game and 11-day stretch, and they're playing on Saturday against Houston, and then they got to turn around and go to Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. They have the early bye week. That's been a huge topic of conversation here, both from those in the media, and also Chris Jones acknowledged how that early bye week is something that if teams are going to have to play 3 and 10 around Christmas this late in the year and stuff, that then they should have to have a later bye week. But because of that, do you think the number 1 seed, knowing the injury that Mahomes has right now, the number 1 seed, do you think Kansas City has to win on Saturday, in your opinion? Because they got to win 2 of the next 3 if Buffalo wins out.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're the Chiefs, for a million different reasons, the number 1 seed is critically important. And I also think it's really interesting. They don't really have any gimme games left. I mean, you play the Texans, then you're playing at Pittsburgh, which, by the way, I'll be there calling that one for Westwood One Radio.
Nice.
And then you're playing at Denver. Now Denver might have already clinched playoff berth by then, and they probably will. But I don't think that will affect how Sean Payton plays in that game at all. I think Sean Payton He wants the best record possible. He wants to go into the playoffs with momentum. He wants to beat the Chiefs, all those things. So none of these games are gimmies. So I think what you really want to do, obviously, is try to clinch it as soon as possible so that you can rest as much as possible. I think getting that first week off is gigantic for both mentally and physically. And then, you'd much rather be at Arrowhead than have to go to Buffalo or somewhere else for the AFC Championship game. I know they did it last year at Buffalo, at Baltimore. It's super impressive. Everything they do is super impressive. But you don't want to be in life, you don't want to be increasing your degree of difficulty, right? Just because you can do something, just because you can do the quadruple Lindy off the diving board doesn't mean that's the dive you should do every time.
When you look at what Buffalo is, are you worried? So, every team's got a fatal flaw. I think that's just kind of the nature of the NFL 90% of every year. Every once in a while, there's some team that has it all. Bills defense, how worried are you of that for them? Because over the last 2 weeks, they're 1-1, but they've given up 85 points.
Yeah, definitely concerned, and they should be. It has not been good on that side of the ball. Part of me wonders a little bit against Detroit because the offense was so unstoppable and has been, and they had a double-digit lead a lot in that game. So I think part of me wonders a little bit how much of that was hey, let's play a little bit softer. Let's not give up anything cheap and deep. We don't want to, we're up 2 scores, and they kind of were yielding yards as slowly as possible. But it is a concern. Now, their safeties were hurt. Milano got hurt during the game. But how can you not be concerned when you just gave up 40 points 2 weeks in a row? I mean, that's, when you watch the Super Bowl video after the season for the team that won it, they usually don't talk about the back-to-back weeks late in the season where they gave up over 40 points 2 weeks in a row. Right?
I honestly don't think the Chiefs have given up 40 points in 3 years.
Exactly. That's exactly correct.
Ross, when you look at the rest of the AFC wildcard teams, I am curious on that end. Which of the wildcard teams do you take the most serious? We know Chiefs and Bills are 1-2. Let's take out the other division winners right now at the moment, or at least the Texans out of this. What are the wildcard teams that you're yeah, that's the one that really scares me in the AFC?
Yeah, I think it's whoever doesn't win it out of win the AFC North, out of Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Because do I think the Broncos and Chargers could give you a good game or give anybody a good game? Yeah, but it's a lot different in the NFC. I mean, the NFC, your first 2 wild cards are probably going to be the Vikings and the Packers. Those are legit teams I could see in the Super Bowl. The only wild card team I could see in the Super Bowl would be the Baltimore Ravens. Even if the Pittsburgh Steelers are a wild card, I could see them winning a game, maybe 2, but they're not good enough to go on the road 3 straight weeks and beat really good teams. I don't see that happening. I do think Baltimore could pull it off. The way Lamar Jackson's playing this year, their belief, their pedigree, they could pull it off. I'm not saying they're gonna, but they're by far the most dangerous wild card team.
We're talking to our Odyssey NFL insider, Ross Tucker. Lastly, I want to get your perspective on Michael Penix era beginning in Atlanta. That news last night. I understand the criticism, of course, around the draft pick selection to begin with, since they had signed Kirk Cousins, and I know everybody was calling them idiots at the time of drafting. But now I think they deserve a slight bit of credit that they're willing to pull the plug on Kirk Cousins. A lot of teams, I feel like, would have just held through this whole thing and kind of said, hey, no, we paid this guy this kind of money. We've got to keep playing Kirk Cousins.
Yep. So let's start with signing Kirk Cousins. Loved that decision. They had the worst quarterback play in the NFL the last 2 years. Arthur Smith would still be their head coach if he had had Kirk Cousins the last 2 years. That made perfect sense. Had no qualms with that whatsoever. I know he's coming off the Achilles. What I don't understand about Cousins right now is how he's gotten worse during the season. I get it. He's in the new offense. I get it coming off the injury. But he was playing pretty well. Like, they were winning shootouts when they were 6-3. I don't know what happened that he dropped off like this. That's the weird part of it to me that I don't really understand. So that's a sunk cost, though. And I'm a big fan of when teams realize that something or someone is a sunk cost and that you're paying them the money regardless, and that trotting him out there and continuing to play him because, quote unquote, we gave him all that money, that's compounding your mistake. That's compounding your error. Penix almost can't possibly be worse than what we've seen from Cousins the last couple of weeks. He's really been that bad. I mean, it's been really, really bad. And so they can't do the play action stuff, the boot stuff. I think this is the right decision at the right time. It's unfortunate that the Cousins thing didn't work out, but it is what it is. And, I hated the decision to draft Penix Jr. because I felt like getting a defensive player at 8 could have been the difference between playoffs or not. But now doubling down at the quarterback position looks very, very smart.
Last quick question for you, Ross, and then we'll let you get out of here. We have the company Christmas party tonight, open bar. What's the acceptable amount of drinking in that situation?
Yeah, that's a terrific question. It really depends on how well you can hold your liquor, you don't strike me as someone that can have that many and still be able to handle a good conversation with your boss.
That's fair.
I'm thinking for you, maybe 1 or 2 like Coors Lights.
Okay.
But on the other hand, Adam's a rock star. I've seen Adam at work. I've seen both of you guys at work, but I've seen Adam with all the ladies hitting on it. Like, I've seen the whole deal.
Oh, you said you did see Alex. You saw a waitress get a number from a waitress, right?
That's right. Did I say Adam? I meant Alex.
You're good.
Alex,
You're good. We knew what
Cody
you meant.
and Alex. Sorry,
Yeah,
Alex.
you're good, man.
I don't know why I said Adam there. It's no big deal. I only do like 20 of these a day. So I've seen Alex work, and Alex, like, he's got the hair. He's I think Alex can put down 5 to 7 IPAs or like vodka tonics and still totally be able to handle himself. So I also don't know how secure you guys are in your jobs. I don't know your boss. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I don't know who all is going to be at the Christmas party. I don't know, like, are there going to be sponsors there?
Nope,
because on the one hand, you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of sponsors. On the other hand, if you drink a healthy amount, I'll say, with sponsors, that could lock those guys up for years to come. If you guys go out with them after the party, you go to like an after party with them, you could really, like, they could be your boys and loyal sponsors for years. There's all kinds of factors in play, but really it's self-scouting is the most important. You got to know who you are, what you can handle. I've been in those situations. I've had situations where I had to tell somebody, listen, man, like, I really think you should leave. I think this is going to turn out poorly for you. It's usually like the 25-year-old that's so excited about the open bar that they go and they're drinking. It's like, hey, listen, man, like, you could do something in the next hour that gets you fired. How about just going home and calling it a night?
I think on this show, that's more likely to be Cody. Actually,
come on.
I think that's.
I can handle myself.
Yeah, I think that might be you. That's good advice from Ross, though. I think Ross, appreciate it, man. Happy holidays. We'll check in a couple weeks.
Sounds great. Great talking with you guys.
So that was JJ Picollo. That was Ross Tucker. I was thinking of JJ Picollo.
We were talking about him for a second.
Cody just said something to me off there about JJ Picollo in our interview.
You're trying to get his name wrong. Like he said Adam.
Ross Tucker. Yeah, I should be that. Rob Tucker. No, he obviously made a mistake there. Text line's enjoying the Adam comments.
Cody and
Adam.
Cody and Adam.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like That sounds like a YouTube channel.
If you missed
full of people who do trick shots. Can we be honest? That's
yes.
Cody and Adam do trick shots on YouTube.
If you missed our interview with JJ Picollo, though, check it out, Odyssey app. I thought it was interesting. That's what we were talking about during the break, just a few things that he had to tell us earlier. But we're back at it tomorrow. We'll find out how this company party goes. We'll definitely report back tomorrow. There'll be something. Drew, I mean, the shot was fired in your direction from Cody earlier today.
I know.
He called you a lightweight.
I'm going to have to tell my wife that when she comes.
Have your wife drive, Drew. Have your wife drive.
You're in a drinking contest now. I don't plan on losing.
Do you actually want to do this tonight?
No, we don't have to do a drinking contest at the work party.
That doesn't
Tempting, but a bad idea.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. It's also a Stitch Line Thursday. Oh, boy.
Maybe we should do a drinking party.